in session for our 6 o'clock public hearing at 6:02. Thank you, commissioners, for being on the dais. I'd like to ask all other commissioners to please return to the dais. Madam County Attorney, I think you got the first item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Agenda item number 23, our first public hearing, is the first and only public hearing to consider adoption of a resolution approving and adopting the Local Provider Participation Fund non-ad valorem assessment roll. This item requests the board conduct this first and only public hearing. And your agenda materials include revised attachments that were issued today due to the president signing the big, beautiful bill on July 4th, which reduced the amount of federal drawdown funds available for hospitals from what was originally proposed in the agenda materials. This item does have a fiscal impact. If the resolution is adopted, it is estimated that approximately $90 million in gross federal and local provider participation funding will potentially be paid to local hospitals the next fiscal year. It would not require any county funding. The county will retain an annual fee for administrative expenses. This item also seeks board authorization to execute an agreement with the Agency for Healthcare Administration in a form approved by the county attorney, as well as approval of a resolution and associated budget amendment to effectuate the county's participation and support for legal hospitals. Staff is recommending options 1, 2, and 3. There are 2 speakers, one of whom is from TMH, but only if the board has any questions.
Okay, commissioners, do we need to, is there a second speaker that is not for information? Oh, just, okay. All right, commissioners, entertain motions.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I move staff recommendation of options 1, 2, and 3.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for staff recommendation options 1, 2, and 3. Commissioner Cummings, did you have any discussion?
No, I think when the county attorney was making the presentation, I think she alluded to the bill that was just passed by the Senate and the House and signed by the president. And I know with this provision here, it involves Medicaid payments to the hospitals. They serve indigent clients, and of course, they're not able to pay, and then those Medicaid payments sort of help subsidize some of that medical costs. But we anticipate some reduction in those costs at some point, right, Madam County Attorney?
Not necessarily a reduction. This just caps what can be assessed based on the highest rate that was previously assessed. So it just doesn't enable the percentage to go higher. Right,
absolutely. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have some questions on it, and you can direct where they go. This cap is from the new federal law that we're voting on. There's not an option. We are obligated that this is the cap. There is no county discretion.
That is correct.
Okay. And can you repeat the financial impact to the county of what passed, so that what we're seeing now versus 2 days ago?
We don't know the fiscal impact of that because the numbers, any final numbers weren't calculated at this point. But what we know based on the cap that now exists, if the board adopts the resolution, is potentially an approximately $90 million in gross federal and local provider participation funding will occur, but no county expenditure of funds as a part of that process.
And then, if you'll allow me, if I heard right that a representative from TMH is here, I'd like to know what their expected impact on care for patients are that would typically have their care provided under these funds through Medicaid. I want to make sure we understand the impact to our community and to the hospital.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Needham. I'm the CFO at TMH. And so just to give some high-level information about just TMH, not talking about the other hospitals, is that just our community benefit at cost that we provide every year is over $100 million, and that's just for our hospital. And so that includes the cost of Medicaid, financial assistance, subsidized programs, such as the Transition Center and our education programs with residents.
And so we're not decreasing. What we're saying is there's a cap where otherwise there's often an increase. Is that accurate? That's probably a question for the county.
Through the chair, Suhail Chhabra, I represent all the hospitals. I'll explain the program to you. What happens is when you're assessing hospitals today, you're assessing them for the care they've already provided. The way Medicaid works, it's 60 cents on the dollar, historically. Charity care in Florida has been as low as 1%. So a hospital would spend $100, they'll get $1 back. What this does is that it allows these hospitals to draw federal matching dollars from the federal programs. Historically, the state of Florida has never pursued, I would say, average commercial rate. They've always pursued as much as they needed. The statewide cap is 6% federally. Florida was at 3.5%. Fiscally conservative states tend to do that. For the first time in the history of the state, ACA, our agency, is pursuing what we call average commercial rate. So they're finally drawing those matching federal funds. No impact to the county. There will never be a dollar impact on any Leon County residents. Everything is there to be gained. It's a win-win. However, with the one big beautiful bill, now we have a ceiling. That ceiling is nationwide. Thankfully, our state government is pursuing a better option, which is average commercial rate. When that happens, hospitals will still not lose money. They'll never make money on Medicaid. That's always a losing business. But they're not going to lose tremendous amounts of money that they've historically lost. That's the resolution before you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, commissioners, we've got, Commissioner Proctor.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask one question? Among our nation's states affected by Medicaid limits in the big, beautiful bill, is it not my understanding accurate that Florida somehow received some kind of exemption waiver or got a different formula?
Through the chair, it is difficult for me to tell you at this moment what the impact, particularly to Florida or any other state, would be, because the law just got implemented. However, what I can tell you is that our state administration and counties across the state, this is the 26th hearing I'm at, 25 unanimous verdicts have been passed. There are tools like directed payment program, low-income pool program, that are already given in federal law to local jurisdictions and hospitals to be able to access more federal dollars. It's just that we've never really used them. So this program started in the state in 2021. These programs are tools that are designed to help our local populations continually have access for the uninsured, for the indigent. So there are tools, but we're finally putting them to use.
Hypothetical, just a hypothetical, for instance.
Absolutely.
If a teaching hospital like, say, something called Florida State University became a dominant player, operator of Tallahassee Memorial, and it's supplanted to the oversight of Florida State, would Florida State have access to the same monies?
So through the chair again, Commissioner, these programs are strictly meant for private hospitals. Public hospitals directly go with their intergovernmental transfers, IGTs, which these hospitals would make thanks to you approving it. They directly go to ACA, and ACA directly goes to the federal government. So for all public hospitals, public universities, programs are backed by the state government already. So they go directly to ACA. They don't have to come before a county commission.
So specifically among the 5 hospitals that are cited in the materials before us, which hospitals would not be impacted?
They will all be impacted. All private hospitals will be impacted from this resolution. What that assessment will do is they will front their own private dollars to draw matching federal funds so that they can continue to provide care to those who need it the most.
Mr. Chairman, I'm thinking that this is a quality opportunity, in particular that it focuses upon those who are uninsured, those who have had difficulties accessing medical care. And this also affords hospitals to continue to have interest in people who don't have the means or the insurance to having the hospital have an appetite to serve everybody, whether you're insured or not. If they can get their money back, they can get reimbursed. It boils down to who's walking in the door, is we or is we ain't gonna get paid off of this person. So this does not level the playing field, but it gives some measure of recouping services rendered by one of our area hospitals. And I think that thus it incentivizes our area's hospitals to receive all people coming through the door with mutual respect and consideration. So I definitely, has a motion been made? Yes, sir. Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, we've got a motion by Commissioner Cummings, seconded by Commissioner O'Keefe, for staff recommendations, options 1, 2, and 3. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Show passes unanimously with Commissioner Caban out of chambers. Next item, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, item number 24, request the board conduct a public hearing on the proposed amendments to the land use and mobility elements in the 2030 Leon County Tallahassee Comprehensive Plan. Again, Commissioners, as you know, based on the recent actions taken by the City Commission at its June 11th transmittal hearing, this item recommends that the board not adopt the proposed ordinance and direct staff to develop and implement a comprehensive public participation plan to further engage residents regarding the proposed amendments to the land use and mobility elements. Of course, upon completion of that, staff will be back to you to seek your direction relative to adoption. We have the full planning team here available to answer your questions, and I do have just a few speaker cards, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Administrator, I think that the speakers probably, I think the outcome will probably reflect, is there any way to ask the speaker, are the speakers in the room or are they online?
They're in the room.
You have 3?
Yes.
If those of you are in the room, I would anticipate that this will go the direction of staff recommendation. If you would still like to speak, we will entertain that, but I think if I had to guess, probably go in the direction you want.
Waive in support?
Yeah, maybe just waive in support or you get 3 minutes, totally up to you. So if you want to announce the names and maybe you can come up and say waive in support.
If you still have a desire to speak, Kathy McGuire? Okay.
Okay, so tell you what, we'll go ahead and, Commissioner Maddox, we got a motion for staff recommendation, second by Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Minor, go ahead, and you want to hear from Ms. McGuire first? I mean, I think she probably wants to hear how, Ms. McGuire, I think we're going to vote in the way you want. So it's really a matter of when do you want to speak? Do you want to speak now, or do you want to speak after? Ms. McGuire, you can speak now if you want.
Okay.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Vivian Young?
Thank you, Ms. Young.
Sophie Spear, I'm going to kill your last name, sorry. Sophie. Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Spear. Commissioner Minor, you're up first up. Ms. Spear, you can come on. Oh, there you are. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sophie Wakonyo-Spear, address 704 Dupac Circle, Tallahassee. I'm the current president of the Friends of Lake Jackson, whose mission it is to advocate for the lake. So I will limit my comments to proposed changes within the Lake Protection Zoning District. I first want to applaud the staff who, following a review by the state, took the decision to eliminate from the transmitted version the proposed changes that had caused us and other stakeholders the most concern. The present version still creates development pressure on the lake by doubling the residential density and the mixed-use non-residential intensity in certain LP categories. So we also welcome the staff recommendation to postpone adoption for a year to allow more in-depth discussion on that topic. What is at stake is mostly the southern half of the lake, which, taken in isolation, qualifies as impaired, whereas the northern half is still healthy. For decades, the cause for that difference has been traced to urban development in the south versus rural lands in the north. Last I heard, FDP was considering either putting the whole lake back on the impaired list or suggesting an alternative restoration plan that would mostly target the southern half. Large efforts were deployed in the past to try and remediate water quality declines, but the recent FDP discussion is a clear signal that more restoration efforts are needed. For years, we have documented large plumes of silty stormwater invading the southern half of the lake via Ford's Arm, likely contributing to phosphorus loading in that region. Ironically, as we speak, blue-green algae is blooming in that part of the lake, prompting a DOH health alert press release. Our position is that ideally, remediation efforts need to be implemented and tested before any proposal of more development pressure around the lake is considered. The language used in both present and proposed comp plans regarding the lake protection category reads, ensure that development within the Lake Jackson Basin occurs in a sustainable and environmentally sound manner with minimal impact to water quality. Minimal impact may sound good enough for a super healthy, resilient water body, but Lake Jackson is not one of those, and this kind of wording does not build trust in the process. Our group would be far more reassured by stronger language, such as development resulting in no further impact or improved water quality, setting a more quantitative tone for the lake protection section. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spear. All right, Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Minor, you're in the queue, followed by Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. First of all, I want to thank Artie White and his team for the tremendous amount of work that's gone into this work, both for the county portion of the comp plan as well as the cities. I've seen you do it because we've been working and meeting with you ad nauseum, for months. And so I can also tell that you're listening to constituents, and that means a lot. So thank you very much for your work. Also want to thank all the folks who are here tonight and everyone who has been involved in reaching out to us on the county side and the city side and staff and with each other on the work on the comp plan. This is very important, as you all know. We are planning our growth for the next 25 years, and it's important to get it right. With that being said, I support the motion on the floor. I think it's the right thing to do. If we were to adopt the comp plan now, that would create two problems, three actually. Number one, it would lead to a lot of confusion since there would be, for a time at least, two entirely separate comp plans. We'd have the county version, which was recently adopted by us, and we'd have the city comp plan, which is basically on hold until the city adopts their portion of the comp plan. So that's one problem. The second problem we'd have is after the city adopts their rewrites, we would then have to undergo a reconciliation process, trying to figure out, well, where the city has text amendments, how do we reconcile those in the county so that we do have overall another comprehensive comp plan that addresses both the unincorporated and incorporated areas. That's a whole other process we have to go through whenever the city does adopt their version of the comp plan up to a year from now. The third problem is that, and probably the most important, is that there's still discussion we need to have with our constituents. If you go to the public meetings, if you go to the meeting that they had at Los Robles, time and time again, people are asking us for more time. They're asking us to sit down with us, with staff, to go through the details of what this plan for growth is going to mean for the next 25 years. And I commend the city of Tallahassee, the commission there, for listening. And it seems, I can read the room, that the county commission is going to do the same. With option one, we will have up to a year longer, which is strongly supported by the Alliance of Tallahassee Neighborhoods, Tall Timbers, the Friends of Lake Jackson, Aquatic Preserve experts Michael Hill and Jess Van Dyke, and numerous other constituents who would like more time with us and with staff on the comp plan rewrites. Our residents are speaking loudly and clearly, They want more time to work with us on this plan for how we're going to grow over the next 25 years. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for your comments. I hope you support option 1.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner O'Keefe, followed by Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to support this, and I'm looking forward to a robust community conversation with staff, and I know we already have plans for that, and as I will be, as I'm sure my colleagues, meeting with all our constituent neighborhoods and everyone to make sure that as we go through this over the next year, that we make sure the comp plan reflects what our community is looking for. I would like it noted for the record, what we're about to do, which is I want to acknowledge and appreciate the City Commission for unanimously taking a lead on recognizing that we still need more input and we still need more adjustments to the comp plan. And I'm glad that we get to join in that and participate in that to make sure, because it is such a big deal, that we work together on it. I'll support the motion, and I could go on more about the importance of the comp plan, and perhaps I should, but I think we all know, and I will just say that the reason we are taking our time with this and extending another year is so important because the comp plan decides how we grow or build for the next 25 years or more. And that is where we get to put the rules in place for what we want to see and what we don't want to see. And that's how we prevent neighborhoods from having to come in and fight new development applications because the rules weren't laid out in the way the county the community and the county wants. And so that's what's at stake here for the comp plan. I'm glad we're taking the time to make it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff, I'd like very much to, in the weeks ahead, I'm asking for a staffing on the English property on the southeast sector plan. The 1,061 acres, phase 1 and 2 combined, it has maximum residential potential for 10,000 plus residential units. And I definitely need to understand 10,000 residential units in the area which currently, is my understanding, is English property. 10,610 units. I'm for Southside development. I'm not against anything like that. But 10,000 units, I need to know where. So I'm asking for update, briefing, staffing on that. Secondly, I'm asking for help to understand, and Commissioner Van, I might be reading off your notes, but the commercial, retail, service, and office development in Woodville in the rural community future land use category. It has not been nudged since 2002, and it's been sitting here the same for about 20-some years. As I think about Bradfordville and the transformation of Bradfordville up a Thomasville Road from, and if I'm not mistaken, it carried a similar rural, I think they had almost the same designation, except for Bradfordville rural has transformed into a very urban, practical reality. And I'd like staff to help me understand how and what steps do we focus in Woodville to make a similar transformation if so desired. So when Commissioner Van and I hold a town hall meeting in Woodville area asking citizen participation, we would definitely need to know where commercial is going and what steps to get there. They may not want to be Bradfordville, but they may want to move off of 23 years ago type statement. And then finally, I'm requesting to be brief, understanding of the USA line And I need somebody to help me understand, what does it take for black people inside the urban service area to get sewer pipes? I don't understand. I'm confused, and, you know, I'm still numb, though grateful that the state of Florida put some street lights down there on Crawfordville Road from Wilson Green or Tillman's Funeral Home up to Capitol Circle. Good. 20 years worth of begging. But we still got people with backyard sewer in the urban services area. If it just gonna lie, then I want it taken out. That sewer don't come with it. But it is argued and been presented to us in the public as public policy that central sewer comes with being in the urban services area, except it's just a promise that have not been kept. I feel like Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired of being lied to. And then final is the rural designation. One house built on 10 acres. I think I heard Commissioner O'Keefe said that this would cover the next 25-year, our commitment. And I just damn don't see one house on 10 acres for the next 25 years, that folk got to get stuck like that for 25 more years. People have served their sentence since this thing was adopted, 1990, 91, 89, somewhere. They done served their sentence, almost 30, 40 years of being constricted, of being asphyxiated. And it's got to be a escape clause. It has to be an escape hatch for people 25 years from now. Rick, by 2050 or something like that. I'll be, you know, some of us gonna be closer to, you know, seasoned age. Yeah, that's too much, y'all. Can't take that. And we need an escape valve on that rural one house on 10 acres. And I just can't support the comp plan at all if there is no way in it for rural people to be continued to be asphyxiated by the standard. Is oppressive. And Florida, when we adopted this plan, when was this thing already adopted? 1990? Yeah. Florida, we had no more. I guesstimate 7, 8 million people, possibly. Yeah. We're cooking with 23 million, you know, before ICE rounds up a hell of a lot more.
That's it.
And I believe that with the intensification of population in the state, we really need to think, do we need a comp plan that locks down people who are under this designation? Freedom, emancipation, jubilee, let them go. That needs to occur. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman. Those are the
Commissioner
4
Proctor.
areas I'm hoping that staff will meet with me on.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes 6-1 with Commissioner Caban in opposition. Next item, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, the next few items, Commissioners, are the public hearings required to utilize the uniform method of collection for our non-ad valorem special assessments, and also to adopt the resolution to establish the ad valorem or non-ad valorem assessment rolls. The first one up, Commissioners, item number 25, requests the board to conduct the first and only public hearing on the adoption of the solid waste disposal services assessment roll for 283 properties being assessed for the first time, and certification of the entire roll to the tax collector. We have no speakers on this item.
Thank you.
Second.
We got a motion for staff recommendation by Commissioner Maddox, second by Commissioner Caban. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item number 26 is required by Florida statutes. Request the board to conduct the first and only public hearing on the adoption of the assessment roll for 286 properties being assessed for the first time and certification of the entire assessment roll for the stormwater management roll to the tax collector.
All right, we've got a motion.
I second.
Second from Commissioner Cummings, motion from Commissioner Maddox. For staff recommendation, seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Show it passes unanimously. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item, again, Commissioners, seeks the board's approval to conduct the first and only public hearing to approve the resolution adopting the non-ad valorem special assessment roll for the sewer services readiness to serve charges on certain real property located in the Kalaran Lakes Plantation subdivision, units 1 and 2, and certification of the entire roll to the tax collector. We do have one speaker on this item.
Okay.
Missy Hyatt.
Ms. Hyatt, name and address for the record, please.
My name is Missy Hyatt, and I oppose this. I'm on septic tank. Why do I have to pay for someone else's sewage? That's ridiculous. I was paying $189 a year on my taxes. It went up to $440 last year. Now my mortgage is up $140 a month just because of taxes and insurance. I'm not paying it. My house is going to be paid for in 3 years, and I have attorneys that work for me. If I have to go to the Supreme Court, that's ridiculous that I have to pay sewage for someone else's sewage. Why don't you tax the people that have sewage in that neighborhood and let them pay for it? Why do you have to tax the people that have septic tank? And Brian Welch, I called you 4 times last week and left messages with you and your assistant. You're a wanker because you didn't call me back. And if you don't know what that is, look it up.
I'm sorry, did you say wanker?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't
Wanker.
receive your calls, Ms. Hyatt.
Yes.
All right.
Conclude your speakers, Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, move staff recommendation. Can I make comment, please?
Yeah, sure.
I second.
Thank you. Ma'am, we appreciate you coming and speaking today. We've had plenty of conversation about this. This is not an issue that we have much control over. This is something that was decided a while ago, and because the city we have an agreement with the city, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Administrator, but I think I know this one. We have agreement with the city that you do have access by pipes to the sewer system. And the way it was explained is that you, if your septic tank fails, will be required to hook up to that pipe. And because of that, you have to pay now. Now, I'm not saying it makes much sense. I'm telling you what is. This board doesn't have much wiggle room at all about whether or not we can do this. This is almost perfunctory in a way, in that we have to do it. And so I appreciate you speaking. I understand your frustrations. Maybe the attorney can help. But right now, this is where we have to be because we have, ma'am, we heard you speak. This is where we have to be because we have no choice. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Maddox. All right, Commissioners, Commissioner Proctor, you're in the queue. You want to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is, the sentiments of the speaker convey largely levels of passivity that a lot of people have. And this is also, I don't know if they get to vote in the city commission.
They do not.
They do not, okay. But here again, people are paying taxes and not receiving a service commensurate with a USA promise and commitment and frustration. But imagine hundreds of people in this manner, inside the Capitol Circle, in the South Side off of Crawfordville Road, off of Woodville Highway, the people who live across the street from Southwood who are gerrymandered out of city care with respect to those pipes. So taxation, because, and we use the word taxation, I don't use it lightly, but I use the word taxation in my limited understanding of taxation as monies raised and amounts that go into the general coffers of the city to undergird services that serve the city residents, of which county residents, some of them are denied. So we pay in, and speaking of the Boston Tea Party, taxation without representation, it stands true in the area of sewer services. And not only and I supported Commissioner Tony Grippa in his effort to work a deal out for Killorn Lakes. It was a bad situation, but the city was considerate enough to run pipes to Killorn Lakes, modify their effort to serve and extend beyond. And the county afforded them access to come and give services there. The county administrator, you remember those good days when this occurred. But Commissioner Grippa was a lion, a grown man lion, in fighting for that relief. But the city has shown no such energy coming to the south side and do the same thing. That's what I've seen. That is what I know. These are the facts. It's a different response on the north side and than there is on the south side. And we're in the urban services area without the service. But we're paying utility, we're paying fire fees, and we don't get the service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Cummings, then Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property owner left, so I was going to say a couple of things to her, but anyway, I understand her, I certainly understand her sentiment, but I will be supporting the motion on the floor.
Yeah, and Commissioner Caban, before you go, I would also say to the property owner, or I would remind her, I have adamantly voted against this and opposed this and made a million points about how I think this is wrong, but at the end of the day, ain't a whole lot we can do about it. So I'll continue to vote against it and, and hope that our scrivener knows how to spell wanker.
She does.
I'm sure she does. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be with you on voting against this. I fundamentally disagree with this process. I think it's wrong. You know, there are state statutes that prohibits the increase of property taxes for homesteads for 3%. Yet the city of Tallahassee, because they want to or have some consultant that works for them, can say that they can 3x someone's sewer fees just because they want to. And I think it's wrong. And this is another reason why I'm looking forward to conversations about having a utility authority where hopefully we have county commission representation, because we have no say over the readiness to serve charge. And it's unfair to property owners who do have a septic tank, who have been maintaining their septic tank. And not only that, but those who even do have sewage. You know, we oftentimes talk about affordable housing. Well, there are several costs that go into affordable housing. Utilities are one of them. And this is, if you're a senior citizen living on a fixed income, these cost increases cut into your cost of living. And I just think it's wrong. So I'll be voting against this.
Thank you. Actually, Commissioner, I don't think we have a motion, or do we? We do.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do.
Oh, okay. All right, Commissioner, we got a motion from Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Aye. Passes 4-3 with Commissioners Proctor, Caban, and Welch in opposition. Yes, sir. Go
Madam
ahead.
Attorney, what happens if they don't pass?
Well, it did.
Yeah, it did.
I assume we'll be in litigation, because we will get sued by the city for violating the 2005 agreement, for not certifying the role.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, next item, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item requests the board conduct the first and only public hearing to approve the resolution imposing the non-ad valorem assessments for the purposes of collecting the sewer service charges and readiness to serve charges on certain real property located in the Bel Air, Annawood area, and the resolution adopting the non-ad valorem assessment role and certification of the entire role to the tax collector. We have no
Move staff
speakers.
recommendation.
Second.
Options 1 and 2.
We have A motion for staff recommendation from Commissioner O'Keefe, seconded by Commissioner Maddox. Commissioner Proctor, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is Ms. Administrator, can Ms. Padilla address a couple questions? Okay.
Did you have a
Hey, Ms.
question?
Padilla. I'm looking under the report, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, under the report and discussion. And you say that there are 10 properties which have sewer service available, but do not have city utility account for metered service. And the special assessment is limited to only those properties. How do you have services and don't have a meter?
They do not have like water service or electric service, so they have sewer service, but they have a well for their water, or they have electricity provided by some other utility.
This is inside of Capitol Circle? Bel Air is coming down over by, off of Woodville Highway, inside of Capitol Circle?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is this area so jacked up and raggedy and not uniform?
I do not know, sir.
Madam Attorney, this is a problem. This is just a problem. And what I'm trying to say is that this is an equal protection of the law problem that I believe in my district, the city is so wishy-washy and cherry picking who receives and who is not going to. How do you get services and don't have a meter? This is crazy. I'd like to see us look at a 42 USC 1983. And I believe that there's wholesale discrimination. It's captured right here in the words in our faces. It's given to us over and over in our reports, but we're dull in our senses and we see the words, but it don't register. This is discrimination. And I like a report, the board's permission for the county attorney to advise us of options that we can take for county residents who, like the young lady that spoke moments ago, is being charged. And moreover, these people cannot vote in the city's election. So when the city violates the fire services agreement, breaches it, we got a 5-year agreement, and the city dictates that we have to bend or they're going to take us to court. Or as to Commissioner Maddox's question, what happened if we don't support it? Hell, that means we ain't got no option. We don't have the option not to support it. So we'll be hauled in downstairs to court in this building where we reside, but we'll be taken to court in our own building if we don't humble ourselves, bow down, and kiss the city's ring. This is discrimination. I am so sick and tired of these policies. And it's been like this a long time. I don't want to go to the House and having left this and whoever comes the next county commissioner from District 1 is starting from scratch. But I've made very little progress. And I really need y'all's help because my voice just has not been effective in the city's desire to gerrymander, to lock folk out of voting, to tax them, all kind of rickety-rackety sewer. It's just crazy. But I do want to thank our staff and compliment Administrator Long and our staff that the movement in sewer that has occurred results from their efforts to secure funding in these different phases over there by Munson, over here in Annawood, Bel Air, Woodville. But it like All of these things is in, under the same county, but it's like it got 4 or 5 different daddies. Each little community got a different little situation, little arrangement, like a different daddy. One buy tennis, one buy church shoes, one don't buy no shoes, one buy flip-flops. They all get treated different. Where's the equal protection of the law? It shouldn't be like this. We ought to be their daddy, with all the children treated the same. We are the government providing for the health, the safety, and the welfare, and we just sleep. And I believe it's because of who they are. I'm sorry. It's because of who we perceive they are not that it lingers this way. So the fact that we can talk about Killarn with a special sewer, hell, the city made an effort to respond there when feces were floating and all like that, and you thought that Texas was bad, and what we've seen yesterday, our hearts given to challenges, people. But Killarn Lakes had a similar situation, except for sewer was all around the area. Vince, is that right? But the city determined that it would not allow that area to exist like that, and they responded with the county's support. But we allow other areas closest to Wakulla Spring. We're trying to protect the Wakulla Spring Protection Zone. And I understand that in some of those areas, commissioners, when the underground water table is highest, you can dig down 10 feet and hit water. That's how close they are to the aquifer. So the areas that are most sensitive and closest to the aquifer on sand don't have what really ought to be a priority, central sewer pipes. And these people are not living in the 21st century with the rest of us. That's why I'm asking your support to allow Attorney Osteen to tell us any options we can do to expedite the closure, to bring, that we won't have to see another report quite like what this one is informing us about, the disparities. I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. I know I went long, but these are years and years of reading these words, and it's just a lot to feel, and I apologize for the passion. I thank you all, and I ask on this motion that we allow our attorney to come back and inform us of steps we can take to close the gap of sewer services where some have service and no meters and stuff.
All right.
Motion?
Is your motion, yes, sir, is staff recommendation?
I'll accept that amendment to staff recommendation on this and ask an item to come back with information from our county attorney on steps to close the gap on sewer.
Excellent, excellent, thank you.
The seconder of the motion was Commissioner Cummings, I think. You on board with that, or?
I can't remember, but I was seconded with that friendly amendment, absolutely.
I see some whispering over there. Does it need to be for the county administrator?
No, I think given the nature of the issue, I think it's directed the right place. Of course, county attorney and I will work on it jointly, if that's the direction of the board.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think the clarification in terms of the representation issues that have been raised is one of, obviously, we're providing sewer, but I think the issue was you identified, Commissioner Proctor, the lack of utility accounts for some of these folks and that sort of thing. We just wanted to seek clarification on what specifically the issue was.
No, and also the withholding of sewer service to these people inside the urban service area. The urban service area is supposed to grandfather these people in. It's supposed to serve them all alike. It doesn't. It's random. It's crazy.
Okay, do you have clarity?
We got it.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 6-1 with Commissioner Caban in opposition.
Dan, what's wrong with you? Why you say?
It's not it wasn't the amendment, it's the the principle of the whole entire agenda item on the sewage part of charging them for the readiness to serve.
All right, Mr. Administrator, item 29.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item seeks your approval to conduct the first and only public hearing to consider an amendment to the Southwood Development of Regional Impact Integrated Development Order.
Staff recommendation.
All right, Commissioner O'Keefe, moves staff recommendation, second by Commissioner Maddox. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Me.
Aye, passes unanimously. Next item. Number 30.
Mr. County Administrator, I hope you don't mind us interrupting.
Thank you. Yes, you were going too quickly for me. So the item number 30, Commissioners,
Move staff recommendation.
there you go.
All right, we've got a motion.
We have no
for-
speakers on this item.
Motion for staff recommendation by Commissioner Maddox, second by Commissioner O'Keefe. On item number 30, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Next item.
We do have one speaker on this item. This item requests the board to conduct the first and only public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the official zoning map from light industrial to general commercial. The proposed ordinance would change the allowable uses for a 1.1 acre parcel located at 3320 North Monroe Street. We're recommending option 1. We have one speaker, however, I'm just reading now, available for questions if we have any.
Move staff recommendation.
All right, we've got Commissioner Minor in the queue. We have a motion from Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Caban, I think. Commissioner Minor, you are up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. As this item has been working through its process at the county, I've received some concerns from constituents about this zoning change, particularly on the amount of traffic. Now, this is quasi-judicial, so I need to basically declare a new ex parte communication that has occurred since the communication logs have been provided to us on the county commission. About 2:30 p.m. today, I called Ann Bidley-Meyer, who's been an advocate against this zoning change, because I wanted to tell her that after speaking with the county attorney's office about this agenda item, I called her to explain what the county attorney had told us. Now, since the Planning Commission has voted to support this zoning change, and the zoning change request was consistent with the comp plan, the Board of County Commissioners here would need a substantive reason to vote against what the Planning Commission recommends. Later, when and if a site plan is submitted to the county, we will then have the details we need to analyze the traffic demand compared with the available capacity along North Monroe as well as Homewood Road and Lang. So I told Ms. Bidley-Meyer this, and that I'd be happy to meet with her and neighbors in the area once the site plan has been submitted. So, Madam County Attorney, is that sufficient for the record?
Yes, it is.
Great, thank you. And with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Minor. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, show it passes unanimously. Next item.
Mr. Chairman, item number 32 requests the board to conduct the first and only public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the official zoning map from light industrial M1 zoning to commercial parkway on a 2.1 acre parcel located at 306 Capitol Circle. We're recommending option 1. We have one speaker representing the developer if you have any questions.
Move staff recommendation.
All right, we've got a motion for staff recommendation by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Vice Chair Caban. Commissioner Proctor, you're in the queue.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted understanding of the movement. What's the reason behind the reason? And what is the activity that will occur? And when we move from light industrial to commercial parkway, what activity will this change facilitate, if we may know that?
Artie, go ahead.
The change would allow commercial development to occur, and if you look at this area, there's kind of a Walgreens, then Applebee's, and a Zaxby's, and then the Werner Hyundai dealership, and so you have kind of a corridor of commercial uses. This property that doesn't have any development on it, but does have curb cuts already in place, this would allow commercial development to happen on it. We don't know at this point what kind of commercial development or what specific business is looking at this. We just know that they are intending to do commercial development like the properties adjacent to them.
This is on the way to the airport?
This is over there by Schuler Road. Schuler, on the corner of, over by the,
Commissioner Caban has some insights.
Commissioner Proctor, this is in my district. So this is between West 90 Tennessee Street.
Right.
And Pensacola Street, the early part of Highway 20. This is all industrial, commercial, so, if I'm speaking on behalf of my district, I think this is an appropriate zoning change to spur more commercial development along an industrial corridor already. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I was curious about this because we put the county's waste transfer is over in this area somewhere. Yeah, is that accurate? What street is that on?
It's invisible.
And I remember Ms. Schuler.
Gum Road is where the.
Is this over by
this
Gum
is
Road?
where- This is north of that.
Closer
This
to
is
the
on
interstate.
the Capitol Circle, closer to Capitol Circle in 90.
I'm looking at the map on page 8. Okay, there's one on Exhibit A. It's bigger
So you-
map.
Commissioner Proctor, Chairman?
Go ahead, Nafal.
If you look at the top left corner of that insert, you'll see West Tennessee Street written.
I see it, yeah.
So that's how close you are to Tennessee Street.
Okay, so
Capitol Circle.
those are the, what's the word? Okay, Zaxby's.
Car dealership,
I like that.
Warner Hyundai.
Okay.
You're a few
Thank you.
miles away from Gum Road.
Yeah, I was curious about that. County Administrator, you remember Ms. Schuler came here, and I think she felt that she got a raw deal some years ago when we put the waste transfer station out there on Gum Road. And she was one of those people who did not want the stench of that, and I want to make sure that we were not doubling down on another NIMBY project, not in my backyard project, on Mrs. Schuler, that family, that area. Okay, all right. The district commissioners authenticated and said he's pleased. I'm cool.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. All right, Commissioners, we've got a motion from, remind me?
Option 1.
Maddox, and seconded by Caban. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, show it passes unanimously. Thank you to our staff and everybody that helped us get through those public hearings. We are now back on general business, Mr. Administrator, number 20, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this puts us back on item number 20 on your general business agenda. This seeks your acceptance of the 2025 legislative final report and the board approval of a resolution to designate the county's Development Review Committee as the administrative authority for the approval of platting and replatting submittals as required by the passage of a new law addressing that issue and as discussed in the analysis section. Commissioners, again, we have a presentation prepared to you. I know that this commission has been well briefed throughout the legislative process. Nikki's prepared to do that. We have our contract lobbyists is here as well. We could do that, or we could, again, defer, Mr. Chairman, and answer any questions that you might have. Again, I know the board's been following this and updated throughout the process. Again, though, Commissioners, we also have this item also addresses the county's contract lobbying services. As you know, the county utilizes contract lobbying teams at the state and federal levels each year. And heading into the 25 session, of course, the board elected to hire an additional lobbying firm to focus on state appropriations. The contract with the Southern Group was for 1 year, and of course, as you may recall, was paid for out of the board's contingency fund. The contracts with the Capital Alliance Group and Patton Boggs are both in their 4th year with options to renew their final 1-year extension on the contracts this fall. Again, that'd be the 5th and final year of those contracts. And we're seeking your direction, Commissioners, if you have any for us relative to the state contracts. Again, we're also happy to answer any questions you might have on the legislative report. We're recommending options 1 and 2. And again, any direction that you might have on option 3, or else, should you take no action on that, your existing contracts would just renew. Again, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Commissioners, would y'all like to see a presentation or just have Nikki answer questions? Okay, you available for questions? All right. Commissioners, I don't have anybody in the queue. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move options 1 and 2 and leave 3 open
Perfect.
for board discussion.
All right, we've got a motion for staff recommendation options 1 and 2. Is there any discussion? And a second by Commissioner Maddox. I probably want to, I'm probably saying what everybody else is thinking here, and just want to say thank you to Nikki and Jeff and Southern Group, and what a bizarre session. I think we all admit, kind of unusual really for the Florida legislature to get so dysfunctional, which has obviously had impacts on everything that we do over here and will do in the future. So just want to commend you guys for enduring that trial. Okay, so we've got a motion for staff recommendation option 1 and 2. We're going to wait on option 3. Commissioner Proctor, do you want to
Thank you.
comment on
I'm
1 or
just
2?
Excited, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm very excited for the Bacon that has come home for $2 million to reignite, to resurrect Crawfordville Road. That's meaningful. It's a step in the right direction. And to Southern Group effort to secure and keep that money secure is one thing to get it passed. It's another thing to get it past the veto pen. And we were able to get, they were, not say we, they were able to help we out with reigniting this project. I want to say that time costs. It costs money when you let time go by. And when this was first, Crawfordville Road was funded by United States Congress, we received $28 million to pave that road all the way to the Wakulla line. And the city and county commission took half the money and took 319 Thomasville Road to the Georgia line and left 319 South incomplete, aborted, and cut off at the 363 road. We can go to Wakulla Springs. So when you go down that road right now, it's 4-lane till you get to 363, it bears left, and it stops. Our commitment was we didn't need to take it any further because Wakulla had not done their part. And again, I emphasize, traveling that road last week, Wakulla has done their part. And now, what would have cost only $14 additional million then is projected in our notes to us. It will take $66 million to complete. That's 5 times, I believe, the amount. Keith, is that right? About 5 times?
You can't afford my fee.
14 million to, well, Keith will tell you if it was 5 or 6 times. But it was some more times more, greater than what originally had we not just taken from the south side and just moved the money to the north side. And it's an emergency evacuation route. And I'm very appreciative that when Commissioner Cummings, I believe the Chairman Welch, and I don't know who else was there when we went before the delegation with our wish list, we heard Chairman Schoaf indicate that he travels that road every day coming to Tallahassee. And it was of personal interest as well as his constituents' safety to improve that road. And I'm just really excited that after all of these years, $2 million as a signal, there's a pulse. It's got a heartbeat, and possibly before doomsday, it might have an expansion. So to those who deserve the credit, hear, Bill Proctor, thank you, the people of the South Side.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Minor, again, we're on options 1 and 2.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to give a very brief update and also congratulate our folks for working on the restoration of passenger rail.
Yeah.
I want to thank Nikki Hatch with our county staff, as well as the Capital Alliance Group for their work. We got further than we ever have before in terms of urging Florida to join the Southern Rail Commission, which, as I've said many times, is generally seen as a first step toward restoring rail through the Florida Panhandle. We actually, thanks to our team here, we were able to get a House bill and a Senate bill filed in the legislature, and we had a House committee report favorably the House version of the bill. So that's the furthest we've ever gotten before on this. In October, when we have our legislative workshop, I'm going to recommend to all of you that we double down. We basically reassert that as a priority for the Leon County Commission. Last year, I was able to talk with the Florida Association of Counties. They also made that a legislative priority for their statewide efforts. And so we're building momentum. It's a long, multi-year process, and there are barriers along the way, but I do feel eventually we will have restoration of passenger rail through North Florida. Now, some of you may know this, but just last week, Amtrak and the Southern Rail Commission made a big announcement. The Mardi Gras route, which will run twice daily from New Orleans to Mobile, will be operational on August 18th. So when that line is open and running, the gap that exists from Mobile to Pensacola to Tallahassee to Jacksonville will be ever more stark. There's nothing running passenger rail-wise between those cities. So when the Mardi Gras route is up and running, I think that's going to help us understand, help us express the need for passenger rail restoration in North Florida. So just want to thank our team for their hard work on this. Looking forward to doing it again next year and getting further. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Maddox.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
1 and 2.
The most impressive statement, the policy work that our team did was phenomenal. Thank you so much for that. It really was. Jeff, your group, Sean Pittman and his group, and as well as the Southern, phenomenal work you did. The most impressive thing I read when I was reading through all of this, interestingly enough, Leon County ranked the 3rd highest statewide on the amount of money any county received in the budget this year. I don't know where we usually rank as far as that's concerned, but if you think about the counties in the state of Florida, be it large, small, medium, it's impressive that we were the 3rd highest county to receive an amount, when we talk about the amount of money received by Leon County, and that is the work of our team, our lobbying teams that we have with us, as well as our delegation. We had folks from our delegation in key areas, and chairman of key positions and appropriations and everything else. And so I can't help but think, whether you agree with their political stances or not, I can't help but thank the Leon County delegation for bringing home that type of money to Leon County, and that is all of them. That's Alice Tant, that's Jason Shove, that's Corey Simon, as well as Gallup Franklin. That is really, really impressive, and I hope that they can continue that success for years to come. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. All right. We've got a motion for staff recommendation on options 1 and 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Passes unanimously. We're now on option 3. Board direction regarding the county's contract lobbying services. Anybody want to take a shot at that? Oh, Mr. Vice Chair, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sure, I'll take a stab at this. To begin, though, I do have a couple questions for staff. First of all, before I begin, I would like to say congrats. I think you've had, a great session. I know your team has been very busy working amongst, the different lobbying groups and staying in touch with the different policies. So thank you for you and your office's time. I have a question on the lobbying contracts. What are the current terms of I think we have 3 lobbying groups. What are the current terms?
So starting with the Southern Group, we have our contract through the end of this fiscal year. For Capital Alliance Group, our other state lobbyists, they have 1 year remaining. So through next fiscal year. And then the same with our federal lobbyist.
So on Capital Alliance and our federal lobbyists, they had an initial term though, right?
Of 3 years.
Okay, and then right now we're in the year to year.
Yeah, they had 2 options of 2 one-year automatic renewals. We're currently still in the first automatic renewal year, and they have 1 remaining.
Okay, what are the terms of the renewals?
They're automatic, but if the board did not want to renew, they would have to provide 30-day notice prior to the end of the current year.
Okay. When is the end of the current year?
For Capital Alliance Group, it's through our current fiscal year, so September 30th.
What about the federal lobbyist?
They're on the calendar year, so they're through December 31st.
Okay. And what is the total amount that we paid, I guess, for this year in lobbying, so with all three lobbying groups?
So standard Capital Alliance Group, $85,000. For our federal lobbyist, $100,000. And then we had the supplemental $40,000 for the Southern Group.
225? 225. Okay. And this session, Commissioner Proctor, I know you said 2 million, but I want to respectfully correct you. We got 2.8 million, and I'm very proud of that because they were all in the South Side, and I know Commissioner Proctor and I. That's a big, Crawfordville Highways is the line of our district. My at-large commissioners, I know it's important to you all too. I'm not forgetting about y'all, but also there was $800,000 for Lake Munson water quality improvements, as we know, very important. So I'm very thankful for that. When was the last time that we received anything close to this through, signed by the governor of state appropriations from end of a session?
So the last time we received a direct local project appropriation was back in 2022 for our Fred George wetland restoration. We received $400,000. The year prior to that, in 2021, we received $150,000 for backup generators at the county-owned health department. And then in 2016, for Leon Works, we received $100,000. And I would say those are the only three that we've received in the last 10 years.
Okay, what is the total of that, roughly 600?
$650,000.
650,000. So,
Leon Works, what was the other two?
The Fred George wetland restoration, and then the backup generators at the health department.
so correct me if I'm wrong, but since 2016, which is 9 years, 10 years, we received 650,000 in funding.
Yes.
What is, if I'm doing my math correctly, we received 650,000 on appropriations. Do we know on federal appropriations what we received?
So earmarks have not always been a thing. I believe they were reinstated in 2021, and ever since then we've had success just about every year, ranging from the Concord School to the Veterans Memorial Bridge replacement, ranging from $1 to $2 million for each project each year.
Okay. So from state appropriations, it's looking like, so right now what I'm looking at is this last year, commissioners, we received in one session more money, it looks like combined, than we received in 10 years. If I'm from state appropriations, is that roughly correct? It looks correct from my quick math.
The comparison of 650,000 compared to.
The administrator.
No, Nikki, make sure you're including the state agency request, because I think that's what we're comparing, apples to apples.
Yes, so that math, the 650,000 were just direct line item
Correct.
local project
Just-
requests.
Correct.
So not funding that we received through FDOT's work
Correct.
program.
Correct. We're on the same page.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that Crawfordville Road would be considered a state agency request.
It'll
If we're
technically
gonna-
come through FDOT's work
Yeah,
program.
well, I consider that a priority project, to be honest, so, yeah.
On point, though, on point. So the 2 million is a state agency, the rest of it was,
For Lake Munson,
That's 800,000.
we will
Okay.
directly enter a grant agreement with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
thank you.
So commissioners, thank you for the questions, by the way. I think that if I have anything else, I'll let you know, but I appreciate your time, Nikki. Commissioners, I appreciate those who walked with me when we discussed this earlier this spring. I had felt in my core that we weren't getting our as Commissioner Proctor would say, our portion of the bacon. And, we're the state capital county. And, we had a trial run with the Southern Group, and we brought them on for a $40,000 one-year contract. And in 1 year, they brought in $2.8 million. And whether you want to call it, if you look at our priority funding, that's $800,000, which is still more than we've had in the last 10 years. That return on our investment, commissioners, is significant. And so what I would like to do is propose a motion to, I'm doing some numbers, I did some math, and I have some consideration for our board to discuss, particularly for our lobbying firms. But I would like to make a motion, and there's 3 steps to this, to notice both our current lobbying firms that we will not be renewing their contracts. And I would like to propose us save $25,000 by proposing a 4-year contract for $200,000 to consolidate our federal and state lobbying contracts with the Southern Group. And as a portion of that, they must maintain the MWSBE requirement and allow them to choose the minority firm of their choice. That is my motion, Mr. Chair.
Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you're going to exceed $100,000 for any given contract, that takes it out of informal bid process under our purchasing policy, because it's currently, if it's between $50,000 and $100,000, under the purchasing policy, section 603, that requires an informal bid process. If you exceed $100,000, which is I think what you're proposing, that requires a full ITB RFP competitive procurement under section 6.08, unless the board wants to waive the purchasing policy. So I'm just putting that out there. If that's part of your motion, that needs to be part of the motion to waive the purchasing policy.
Okay, then I'll include that in my motion to waive the purchasing policy as well.
All right, so we've got a motion from Commissioner Caban to directly hire Southern Group or cancel contracts with, or you said 2, you mean 3, or are we just assuming Southern's has expired?
Yeah, we would extend it.
Right, okay, so with Capital Alliance and with Boggs Patton, or Squire Patton Boggs, and then waive our policy. Does everybody understand? I guess we all understand. I will second that for discussion. And I've got Commissioner O'Keefe and Commissioner Minor in the queue, and Commissioner Proctor and Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is one, I have some questions on this before I can get behind it, but this is where my wife is used to hearing this. This is where I say, you were right. This is where I say you were right. And
if my partner Alex is listening on the record, I hope she heard that. I don't hear that much in my house.
About this.
I bet Brooke hears that all the time.
About this. And so I just want to say, I objected to this, but the proof is in the pudding and the funding has come back. And so I will admit that is, you were right. And so I'm happy going forward on that. My question is, what is our current budget? Well, how much is in the lobbying total budget in what we've preliminarily approved?
185.
185, okay. And I'm not familiar with the lobbying industry. So what I've seen is Southern Strategy, incredibly effective at the state level. I don't know their effectiveness at the federal level. And so I'd like to hear about, I don't know who I hear about that from, but that's a question I have for myself is, we've proven it at the state level. Is it similar at the federal level? And then for the 200, yes, it's saving from last year, but it is more than we budgeted. But now that I say that out loud, it falls under the category of, I'll admit when you're right, we're talking about 15 grand on 2.8 million. And so it just really doesn't sit right usually with me to not do open competitive bid and all that. But what's clear is in this is not widgets and this is not auditing services. This is very specific, very specialized, and I appreciate, while I like the public procurement process, I appreciate the motion doesn't waste staff's time when we know what we want. That took me a little bit last year. We kind of knew what we want, but we know now, and so if somehow I can hear a little bit more about comfort on the federal influence level, then I can support this.
Nikki, is that something you can speak to in terms of, no? No one can speak to that?
Speak to?
Southern's effectiveness at the federal level.
Oh, I think you can speak to Southern's effectiveness at the federal level. I think their work product is well known. You wouldn't be able to compare it without an RFP process, however. But yeah, I think anybody would stipulate that Southern's a very reputable firm. And again, as Commissioner O'Keefe noted, if the board wanted to dispense, and again, you had your preferences, certainly the board has the ability to do that.
Okay. Commissioner Minor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. First, I've got a question for Nikki, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Commissioner Caban, I thought really was helpful in kind of clarifying what our appropriations have been received over the last 10 years and then this last year, right? He mentioned that we determined that over the past 10 years, we've received $600K in direct appropriations from the legislature, and then just this last year, $800,000 for Lake Munson. You said that the $2 million for Crawfordville was basically a state agency appropriation. What would be the state agency amount that we've received over the past 10 years? I want to make sure we compare apples to apples to apples.
It's not the full picture, but typically on any given year, we receive about a 50 million, I believe, through state agency funding.
Well, how's that compare to this year?
I don't know the full breakdown. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere between 50 to 60 million as well.
50 to 60 million.
Yes, so the funding for Crawfordville Road, that's a project already within FDOT's 5-year work plan. What essentially that $2 million is going to do is accelerate the project within the work plan.
Okay.
We won't be receiving any of those dollars directly.
Gotcha. So would it be fair to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, would it be fair to say that our state agency appropriations this year compared to previous years has been relatively consistent?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it. Like has already been said here on the dais, I think the Southern group has done an incredible job. I think the proof is in the results. I do, however, believe that we really do need to stick to the process. We need to stick to the ITB RFP process. There are a lot of questions that we have. I'm uncomfortable for us just saying, now I know they have a very good reputation when it comes to federal lobbying. I just know that. But none of us has looked at that on paper. None of us has looked at anything that Southern Group has given us in terms of what they say they can do for us at the federal level. $200,000 sounds like a good amount for us. I mean, considering the rate of return we're probably getting for that. But that money doesn't belong to us. The $200,000 belongs to the taxpayers. Shouldn't we put that out for bid so that the Southern Group, frankly, tells us what they think they should do the work for, how much that's going to cost them, how much they want to charge us, because they're going to be competing with other people that respond to the bid. What I want to do is I want to have an RFP process where Southern Group, which has done a tremendous job for us this past year, where Capital Alliance Group has done a tremendous job, where Sean Pittman and his folks have done a tremendous job, where they're basically applying to basically have us as a client, along with anyone else out there that wants to apply. That gives our county staff and us the ability to compare the results with what they've already provided to us, as well as what the prospective lobbyists might want to do for us, and at the price that they're willing to charge us. That's why we have a policy. That's why we have a policy that requires an RFP up to a certain threshold. I'm uncomfortable voting for this without going through the process. I agree that the Southern Group has a esteemed reputation when it comes to federal lobbying, but we've not read anything about what their capabilities are for us at Leon County, other than just having our own knowledge about their reputation. So I really hope you'll pause on this a bit, take a step back. I think the right thing for us to do in terms of The best use for taxpayer dollars is to have an RFP where our county staff can evaluate things according to the people that respond to the bid, and then we have the chance to take a look at what those results are and make a decision for ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Proctor.
Mr. Chairman, may I defer to Commissioner Caban that he might directly respond in the heat of this moment to what Commissioner Minor said. My comments, I don't want to.
Sure.
I'm okay with that as long as Commissioner Cummings is okay, because I saw she was in queue and I don't want to skip you as well.
I didn't, by the time you circle back directly to his question.
Do you want to just speak on point?
Yeah,
what he
on
said?
point. Commissioner Minor, you bring up some very great and fair points. But if I were to respectfully debate you, I would say this. One, committee weeks start the first week of October. This last session, we went through this and they got a late start already. Two, I would arguably say that the Southern Group just went through the most realistic RFP process that you can do, which is they went through a session for us. And as Commissioner Proctor would say, they brought home the bacon, right? So in one session, they brought back more money on our line item funding for, whether it's just Lake Munson at $800,000. They went and took a project that was vetoed last year, and not only did they get it more funded at a higher level, but they got it signed, and it's a done deal. Additionally, if you took a look at what they did over the last 10 years, right? I mean, we bid at a deficit. So when we talk about what's best for taxpayers, we've paid $85,000 for 10 years, and we got back $650,000. That's a deficit. In 1 year, we had a $40,000 contract and brought home $800,000. So I think we have the same, I think our approach is, we both want what's best for taxpayers, and I respect that. But I'm saying my approach is what's best for taxpayers is bringing on a firm that's going to bring them a higher return on their investment. So that would be my direct rebuttal, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Minor, you want to respond to that, and then I can get back in order?
Thank you very much. And Commissioner Caban, I respect that as well. What's the rush? The legislative session ended. Our county administrator has told me during briefings, and it's in the agenda item, and I'm sure he's told all of us, we have plenty of time to put this out to bid. Plenty of time. And there's more, yes, judged by performance, Southern Group has done a tremendous job. But there's more to the RFP than just a prediction of performance. There's the documentation you have, conflict of interest disclosures, all those types of things. The actual amount that they want to charge us that we can compare with other responses to the bid. Those are essential parts of the RFP process that I think should be part of it. And here's the thing, we have time. We have time to put it out to bid. We have time to have people respond to that RFP. We have time for our county staff to evaluate that through a rigorous process, to take a look at the documentation, make sure everybody is conforming with what our procedures are, and then it has time to for that to come back to the county commission, where we can take a look at Southern Group's response, we can take a look at Capital Alliance if they choose to respond to it, and anybody else that wants to respond. That, in my opinion, is the most responsible way to use taxpayer dollars. We might have Southern Group that we end up choosing, but because they're competing for our business, they might choose to bid it out at $185,000 or $150,000. You know, I think we have time to do that. That's my point. And I agree, I understand what you're saying. Why waste time? But we have time to do it. And that's my point. And there's more to the RFP process than just simply the performance. Although that's a huge part of it, there's a lot more in terms of the process that the county requires to make sure we dot our I's and cross our T's. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to get back on Commissioner Proctor, then Commissioner Cummings.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Then
Chairman.
Commissioner O'Keefe and Minor again.
I appreciate my colleagues' comments, and I think that above the shoulders on this one, I have to lean to Commissioner Minor, his desire to see us follow the bid process and all of that. And, you know, in years prior to current governor, objectively, I could likely lean that way. But after looking at the Florida University search for president, the damn process ain't worth a damn. And, you know, with all due respect to respect, but you just don't respect respect when respect don't respect you back. So it don't respect you back, even if we go through and we end up with alliance, some other joker. What this process respects is who you know, and connections, and personalities. I am so clear after getting my efforts to see an objective process at FAMU and go for the most qualified person, and let's objectively rank these persons and how do we get there, all of that. And that's the old school. That don't even count no more. You know, that don't count no more. So the process is who's connected, who's got juice, who's got game, who's got connect. That's the way it is. And I can give you a whole lot of names of people who thought there would be a process, Commissioner Minor, alumni, faculty, students, but it wasn't one. Because under this particular governor, all of that don't mean a damn thing. It's who you know. So when you bring $2 million and resurrect Crawfordville Road, something that's been dead forever in my district, I'm happy. I'm looking for performance. When $800,000 comes down for Munson, I don't care if the state, who name you put on it, I don't care. It's in my district. It's something that needs to be done. And we brought in a team that went to work, but what's most impressive is after the meat grind and when the sausage gets ground up, you got to be able to keep it when the legislative have hit sine die. And they done close the door and close the deliberations, and you got to hang on and keep the governor's pen, veto pen, off your money if you got some designated. That's what we saw. So it's one thing to chock-a-lock-a-lot, and talk all that talk, and get it through, but it's a whole nother season. Once you get past the legislature, that next season involves your ability to keep the money legislators designated to you. We saw that ability, and that I like to respect the process, but the process, it ain't one, and it's based on those variables that are subjective. And with respect to the process, as legislators, we hold discretion as legislators to exercise our discretion with respect to what we're looking at. If we want to go out there in the marketplace, but Caban said it well said, that the bidding process was the performance which occurred in the last 2025 legislative session. That was the bidding process. Everybody had an equal chance to show what you're working with, what you brought home, what you lassoed, what you got, who you could ride, what you brought. That was a process, clearly. To me, what else I got to go do? So I'm well pleased with Southern, according to the information, we brought them on board in January. Man, it was so much money spent before January, they didn't even participate in it. They didn't even get their boots on the ground at the same time as everybody else. And they caught up and outran everybody else and performed. In a grown man and woman's world, time over performance is the only measure, objective you can go by. That's what we went by. I'm not sure about that group up in Washington. I forgot their name. Yeah. I don't know how to compare them, but I mean, think about the word Southern, Southern group. I mean, the word Southern carries weight. It's almost coded language. Southern group in Washington. They ain't gonna lose no money because they're Southern group, if you know what Southern means. So they're armed in name, proper noun. Southern group is gonna find traction in times like these when it ain't no rules, there are no norms, there's no tradition, there is no process. We are best represented by a group who call themselves Southern. I'll drink to that. Ain't it some whiskey called Southern? Something like that. Is it Southern?
All right, thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Cummings, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we were all up here excited and giddy about the bacon that was brought home for our county this legislative session, this past legislative session. And I want to thank all of our lobbying groups, the Capital Alliance, the Southern Group, and our federal lobbyists. I'm sure they bounce things off of each other, and in the final analysis, we have a win-win for our county, a win-win for the citizens of Leon County. But Commissioner Caban's initial motion indicated 200, set aside 200,000. And then the county administrator indicated that that was above, I believe, our policy.
100,000.
Our budget.
Our policy is anything above 100, we have to waive the rules. So
Oh, I understand,
yeah, yeah.
okay. But my question is, lobbying services, Madam County Attorney, are those exempt from competitive procurement, or is it just our policy here on the county for a certain amount?
They are not exempt from the county's purchasing policy, but that's why the board can waive it, because you impose that threshold under your purchasing policy.
Under our policy?
Correct.
But under state statute, like
That
legal
doesn't apply.
services is exempt from
That doesn't
competitive.
govern this, because we're not subject to 287.057 competitive procurements at all. We have our purchasing policy.
Right,
So we're
okay.
operating under our policy, not that state statute.
Okay, so that answers my question. Lobbying services is not subject to state procurement.
None of
Right.
our procurements are. We don't operate under 287.057.
But we set our own
Correct.
limits here.
Right.
And our limit as far as lobbying services without the competitive process is $100,000. Is that the ceiling?
Yes, because it's not
But we
currently
have the
exempt.
ability to waive that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we could waive it if we wanted to set the cap at $200,000 based on Commissioner Caban's initial motion, okay? I like the fact that he also indicated, and is that part of the motion to require minority and women participation as well? Oh, okay. And then I'm like Commissioner Minor in the sense that I believe in fairness, putting it out there, allowing the interested entities to submit their proposal, we evaluate it, what have you. And I'm in favor of following procedures. Have your policy in place, follow your policy, do your analysis, determine the best entity to provide the services. However, listening to the debate up here on the dais, I think Commissioner Proctor just brought some realization to my mind, and that is, in all instances, the procedures don't dictate. You might feel that you have the best procedures adopted, you try to follow those procedures, but in this day and time, that might not be the ultimate final decision, even if you follow your procedures, to the T. I think we're living in a world now where we recognize the power of political engagement, political involvement, the power of political camaraderie. And I think it's incumbent upon us, I believe, here on the dais as commissioners to look holistically at what's best for the citizens of Leon County, as far as bringing home appropriations that's going to benefit our county, that's going to address some of the needs of the citizens here in Leon County, that's going to address widening roads and road repair and everything else that we have been trying to benefit from every year throughout the legislative process. So I appreciate the debate. I appreciate Commissioner Proctor's concern and his passion about what's best for Leon County. So at this point, if we as a commission, if we are able to waive certain provisions so that we would be operating within, I guess, the arbiters of what we as a county have established. I'm willing to sort of walk with Commissioner Caban on this, recognizing how we benefited this last legislative session from his motion a few months ago to bring on this extra group for little or nothing, to be honest with you, based on the return that we received. But I'm persuasive. I am willing to be persuaded, and I think Commissioner Proctor has almost persuaded me. I appreciate Commissioner Minor's concern about the competitive process, allowing entities to submit proposals, and we do the evaluation, and that's basically my mindset as an individual, as a person, but I think it's incumbent upon all of us to also recognize the realities of the times that we live in, you know. And I think we need to recognize the realities of having relationships, professional relationships, political relationships, and whether or not those relationships are in the best interest of what we want for our county. Also, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Maddox, Commissioner O'Keefe, you're in there, but I'd like to hear from Commissioner Maddox and then myself, because we haven't chimed in, and then we can circle back to you if that's okay.
I'll try to be as swift as I can. Mr. Administrator, the MWBE portion of this contract will be capped at whatever, I think it's like 14, 15%, correct? I think it's 12. I want to know what the number is, but I think it is capped. I think, the only reason I asked is because I remember when we did the $40,000, I believe it was, I asked for a specific number instead of what the percentage was, and it came back that we had to go with the percentage that's prescribed, correct?
And excuse me, yes, we could, and it's, the county attorney and I were just putting our heads together on this one. I don't think, again, it would be a problem for you to set it at the same percentage as you had it last time.
Right. I mean, it's prescribed. I mean, we can't, okay, because it's justified that way.
Yes.
Because it's in the study, okay. I struggle whether or not I was going to speak on this, but I think it's necessary for us to celebrate, because the writing's on the wall. I can read how the tea leaves are going here. I think it's necessary for us to celebrate the firms that have been with us for years. How long have we worked with the firms that we currently employ?
The early 2000s.
Early 2000s. So for 20-some odd years, Patton Boggs and Capital Alliance have worked with us and have done good work. I will say that I think they've done good work, and I'm excited about what they've done for us. I'm also excited about the direction that we're moving in. And given, again, the tea leaves that I see here, I will go ahead and support Commissioner Caban's motion. But I will say, I don't want us to walk away from this moment without giving those firms the roses that they deserve for the work that they did for us for so long. And so I want to say to both firms, thank you. To the Southern, I challenge you. You did what you were supposed to do with the $40,000 that we took a chance on and brought back monies that exceeded our expectation. But if we're going to go down this road, and I believe that you can with the relationships that you have, I challenge you to continue the legacy that has been built over the past 20 years with the firms that we had, and to exceed that. that is the opportunity that we're giving, that's the chance that we're taking right now, because we believe as a commission that the Southern, for our federal and state, which is the first time, is this the first time we've done this, Mr. Minister?
In a very long time.
Yeah, first time in a very long time, we believe that they can exceed the expectation. This isn't about meeting the expectation. This is about exceeding the expectation, and to go as far as we've gone to even waive rules and move forward with this, I do challenge the Southern, but on the same foot of the challenge that I present here today, I believe they are fully capable of doing exactly what we're asking. And so, like I said, I struggled as to whether or not I was going to speak, but I wanted to go ahead and take this opportunity because we haven't done it yet. As I'm listening across the board, it looked like this thing is going to pass. To thank those who have done the work for the past 20 years, and to thank them sincerely for the work that they've done, and not to make it seem like they haven't done any good work, because they have. This isn't about the product that they produce. This is about the opportunity that we have with the Southern, and the opportunity we're giving the Southern to exceed expectation on the state and federal level in the work that they do for us. And so, Mr. Chair, I'll support the motion on the floor with, again, a thank you to those who have served us in the past, and a challenge and excitement into those who, if this passes, will serve us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Maddox. I have been pretty bullish on this idea, going back to our original discussion. I feel like, we acknowledge the dynamic nature of the activity across the street, and we also acknowledge that we've been with our folks for 20-something years. Imagine how much that has changed in 20-something years across the street. And I spent some time over there 20 years ago, and I know Commissioner Proctor spent some time over in that building years ago, and so has probably some others of us. Man, it's a dog-eat-dog world over there, man. It is really cutthroat, and I think that I agree with Commissioner Maddox wholeheartedly. I think that Mr. Sharkey's group has done a fine job servicing Leon County. But I think you living in a world now where fine job ain't bringing home the bacon, right? You got to really excel. And so I think that I totally agree with Commissioner Minor. I think that it is really would be responsible of us to go through the RFP process. But I also think that as elected officials, we owe it to our constituents to show them that we are serious. And I think that supporting Commissioner Caban's motion is a testament to that. We are serious. I don't think we have to ever apologize for hiring the largest lobbying firm in the state of Florida. The largest in the state of Florida, okay, by volume, by numbers of associates, who clearly we have acknowledged has a presence at the federal level. I think it's silly to hire a firm at the federal level and at the local level when you have powerhouse firms right across the street from us who operate at both levels. I think that there's dollar cost averaging there, or whatever you want to call it. I think there is value there, and I don't think that we have to feel like we're out of order by waiving our rules to hire a firm that we know got a bunch of dogs in it, and that's going to go out there and really fight hard in that just almost unfairly dynamic environment across the hall where you got to be that way. You got to be that way, right? And so I will, as the seconder of the motion, obviously, I'm going to support Commissioner Caban's motion. I think the earlier that we can give our designated lobbyists the opportunity to go out there and start banging on doors. You've got midterm election cycles that are going to start ramping up here probably before the end of the summer, both locally and certainly at the state level. And so I think the sooner that we can get those guys and gals motivated and moving and knocking on doors and going, hey, I'm representing Leon County now, I think that'll just be better for our constituents, because at the end of the day, that's who we are sent here to represent, and the rubber has to meet the road. And so I think that there's nothing wrong with pivoting at this point after 20-something years to a 4-year deal. And I guess this is a question for the county administrator. I mean, y'all would need more direction than us just saying a 4-year deal. Would there be parameters like a 3-year deal with a 1-year extension, or just be a straight 4-year deal?
I think we can take your direction based on that and structure a contract to bring back for your approval that would reflect the spirit.
I just think, I think that's the right way to go. I think that's a really, again, it's aggressive, but it shows we're serious. It shows we're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to play the game over there, and we're ready to have a seat at that table when it comes time to getting things signed. I think our delegation, they do the best they can pushing things through. But as we all know, it's so dynamic over there, even your delegation can't always get the job done. You got to really bring in the big guns. And I think this is us saying, we're ready to really invest hard in the big guns. Not just flirt with, but actually date the big guns. So that's where I'm at. I'm welcome to come back, Commissioner O'Keefe and then Commissioner Minor, if you guys want to wrap us up. Commissioner O'Keefe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That brings to a couple questions that came to mind. The current agreements, what were the original terms? Were they a 2-year contract with 2 automatic 1-year extensions?
I think that's it.
There was a base term of 3 years with 2 1-year automatic renewals.
And we have until 30 days until their renewal to notify them?
Yes.
Okay. And, then my first thing is we talked about the money that we got, but as the county administrator reminds me, and yet I forget until the end of the discussion, a lot of the money that we saved is money that we stopped negatively impacting us this year. So for example, pension changes that, if I remember my numbers right, if they were passed, would hit our budget by $30 million or more. Is that?
That's correct.
That's correct. And so my question is, and a lot of that advocacy, I believe, is coordinated with the Florida Association of Counties, as well as things that affect home rule, that are not just projects. And so my question is, how much, if any, does our current Capital Alliance group join us, in fact, Florida Association of Counties, I'm not cussing, with those efforts separate from special things? I don't want to jump to the projects and forget and make sure we still have our strong effort on home rule and huge negative revenue side or expense side policies.
We would continue to do with whoever the board selected.
And you have no issues?
No.
Okay. And then we have non-financial legislative priorities, I think more at the federal level. And I know I'm going to bring some I hope we support to add to our legislative priority workbook for the federal level. Some of those are not consistent with the current administration's philosophy. And so again, can we expect that we will get the same level of advocacy for those non-financial issues that we are voting on and saying that we want our lobbyists to represent us?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, I know Nikki's here, if we had any concerns about that, we would make you aware of it. But again, I think any of the top firms have to be able to work both sides of the ball.
Okay. So I'm gonna, there are 2 things. An administrative thing I'd like to offer to consider as an amendment is just a little administrative thing. I'd like to tell staff to offer a negotiated contract with Southern and then notify the 2 firms that we're not going to renew. Because there's a theoretical world where we vote this and staff goes out and the vendor's like, $200,000, I don't know about that. And we would have already notified. I just wanted to put the notification after having a contract.
I would say that I think the county, sorry, Commissioner Caban, but I would say the county administrator just told us that we're at the very top of the structure, I think, countywide at 225. So, Commissioner Caban, go ahead.
No, I think we're all good to be with this.
Okay.
And then my only other ask is that we give the same lead guaranteed years and then optional. So So I would ask for a friendly amendment for 3 years with 2 optional 1-year extensions. And the reason is, let's see how effective they are, because just like we did with our other firms, if by some reason in 3 years they're not effective, we should drop them like a hot rock, just like we do any other firm that's not effective. And so I would just try to say that we give the same initial lock-in with extensions. That's all.
Sure, Commissioner Caban?
Commissioner, if you're going to support the motion with those amendments, then I'm happy to do that. I think that's completely fair, so I'll accept those amendments.
All right, so we've got amendments. I'll accept those as well as a seconder of the motion, and we are still going. You see more? Commissioner Minor's in the loop. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to wrap this up, I know where the vote's going. I'm going to vote no on this, mainly on principle because of my belief in having us follow the process. It looks like we're going to have Southern Group representing us, which I'm happy about. It's a top firm. It very well could be the best firm that we can have working for us, both at the Capitol here in Tallahassee as well as in DC. So I want to be very clear about that. My vote is not against our new lobbying firm. It's against what I believe to be us not following the process. And, I know that the thought here is like, let's be serious, let's show what we mean business. I get that. In my opinion, showing that we're serious and meaning business is following the process and going through the RFP. And since we have the time to go through that process, making sure we basically cast a wide net, see what we catch, evaluate what's in the net, and then make a decision there, which would have very well been Southern Group, but we will have gone through that process to do so. So I'm going to vote no, but I know where it's going. I'm happy with what the result's going to be, and I look forward to some appropriations coming our way over the next few years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Cummings, you want to wrap us up?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question. Commissioner O'Keefe's suggestion that our federal and state lobbyists now not be notified until we get a positive consensus from the Southern Group to our county attorney. Don't we have a certain amount of time to let them know that we will not be exercising that last year extension?
Right, yes, Nikki said, so the deadline would be the end of July for...
It would be August
end of
30th
August.
for our state contracted, then November 30th for our federal.
Okay, so I
There's
just
time.
suggest that we follow the process and procedures that are in the contracts that we have,
Yeah, there's
with
time.
both entities. And we're obligated to do that anyway.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am. All right. We've got a motion from Commissioner Caban and a second from myself. Do you guys got everything you need? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, passes 6-1 with Commissioner Minor in opposition. And we are on to our next item, 21, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item seeks the board approval of 2026 CHSP grant recommendations in the amount of $1,324,500. This is the second year of our current 2-year cycle. We're recommending options 1 and 2. And let me just check, Commissioners, we have no speakers on this item.
Move option 1 and 2, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Commissioner Maddox, you want to get in on that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, I'll be recusing myself on this item as I am Chairman. It's been a long night. President and CEO of Family Promise of the Big Bend, which receives CHSP funding. Thank you.
All right, we've got a motion from Commissioner Proctor, seconded from Commissioner O'Keefe, and with a recusal from Commissioner Maddox. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, passes unanimously with Commissioner Maddox in recusal. Next item, Mr. Administrator.
Commissioners, this item seeks full board consideration of the appointments to the Investment Oversight Committee as well as the Educational Facilities Authority. We're recommending options 1 and 2. You have no speakers on this item.
We've got a motion for option 1 and 2 from Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, shows passes unanimously. Commissioners, we are on citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. That's done with general business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, your first speaker, Kenneth McDermott.
Who you said, Mr. Administrator?
Mr. McDermott. Oh,
Mr. McDermott had to leave, but I did tell him that I would convey information to him The name should sound familiar.
He owns the property
is
behind us.
owner of the Washington Square property. He wanted me to let the board know that the agreement with the county for him to repair the right-of-way has not been executed yet. However, he has a meeting with staff tomorrow to work out some timeline issues with the expectation that the agreement will be signed by the end of the week. I told him I would convey that information to the board.
Thank you, great conveyance.
The next speaker is Carlette Smith, to be followed by Sam Wilson.
Name and address for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Carlette Smith. My address is 5990 Smithville Lane. Good evening, commissioners and neighbors. I'm honored to serve as the director of the Boys and Girls Club in Miccosukee, Florida. I want to thank you for this opportunity to share what we need to truly make this new community center a place of growth, connection, and hope, especially for our youth. We are in a rural area, and while that comes with its own beauty and strengths, it also comes with unique challenges. Our young people will need access to programs that support them academically, emotionally, and creatively. That includes after-school tutoring, sports, and recreation, STEM programs, and creative outlets like art and music. We also need to think about families, offering parenting workshops, job training, mental health support, and wellness programs. A community kitchen, computer lab, and safe transportation would make a huge impact. This center has the power to change lives, but it will only reach its full potential if we invest in the right programs and resources. I'm here to say that I, along with the Boys and Girls Club of the Big Bend, am ready to lead and support this effort every step of the way. Thank you again for listening and for your commitment to our community.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Sam Wilson, to be followed by the final speaker, David Hall.
Mr. Wilson? Name and address for the record, please, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Sam Wilson. My address is 146-148 16 Rosa S. Wilson Lane, Tallahassee, Florida. I'm an advocate of the Boys and Girls Club, and we put a lot of emphasis and work into making it is what it is, and we do appreciate what the county have already done for us. We do appreciate that. We think it could be more, but we thank for what we have. I have one deeply concerned about when the ribbon cutting was done. I just think that we should have had some representative from the committee people working at the community with the ribbon cutting. And we know it went off well and whatnot, but my concern, I thought we should have had some representative from the area that worked in so hard to make it what it is. Again, thank you for listening, and I hope, and another concern I have, I asked different people from the county and whatnot about the sign being put on the building. We have the Boys and Girls Club, well, the county got their sign there, but it says the Boys and Girls Club, but there's no sign out there saying the Carrie Wilson Boys and Girls Club. That's what it were at the beginning. I wonder, could I get some information, some enlightenment, why isn't that sign put on the building now? Is it not going to be a public signing of the Carrie Wilson Boys and Girls Club or whatever, but we would like to get some enlightenment on that if we could. Thank you so much.
We can have staff speak with you, Mr. Wilson.
Final speaker, David Hall.
Mr. Hall, name and address for the record, please. 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Thank you, County Commissioners. My name is David Hall, and I grew up in the Miccosukee community. I've never been more proud of the changes that brought about the ribbon-cutting ceremony of the new renovated community center by the Leon County Board of Commissioners. On behalf of the entire community, you have our proud thanks. However, I would be remiss if I did not call your attention to all the work in the form of meetings, discussion groups, plans, and the member of the community that went completely unnoticed at the ceremony. Even Commissioner Bill Proctor weren't even there. Well, in fact, members of the committee who was appointed by the county commission to work with work with Maggie and the administrators. We were not even given a chance. I knew it was real hot that day, and I can contest to that. But we had 7 members appointed by the county to work with us. We came out every Tuesday and worked religiously trying to get this center open up. And come to behold, I've been getting calls from the committee, why weren't we acknowledged? I can't answer that, but I'm looking for an answer tonight. I ask you, in all appropriate ways, public knowledge of all the tireless work of the community center went toward great effort, which we promoted even greater community pride, as well as greater future involvement. With that all being said, consideration is made that a community center, the Miccosukee Committee, be awarded a plaque with the name of each member on that plaque and placed in the Miccosukee Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hull. Yes, Commissioner Maddox.
Mr. Hall, do you want better? So I remember the conversations we had around this, Commissioner Proctor, you were there. There was a lot of conversation, and Mr. Administrator, you remember, about not even wanting to do at Concord School because of what it represented. And we moved forward with using Concord School as a community center for Miccosukee. And you all, that committee of 7, though you may not totally have agreed with it, chose to serve to help us figure out how we're going to make that facility the best facility we possibly can. And on behalf of myself, and I'm sure the chairman would say the same, we apologize for you all feeling like you might have been forgotten about. But for your efforts, not just for your efforts, but for your willingness to be a part of a process that you might not have totally agreed with from the jump. What I'd like to do, Mr. Chair, on your behalf as the District Commissioner, is ask for a proclamation to be given to those 7 folks for their work, the work that they put into and the time that they put into creating the Miccosukee Community Center to be what it is today. And so, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we not do a plaque, but that we do a proclamation celebrating those 7 members of the committee that helped us in the time that we needed help out there to figure out what we're going to do.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I apologize for the way that you all may have felt about the lack of recognition, but don't think it's lost upon us the important role that you all played in the community center being what it is, and we thank you. And I hope this proclamation shows our sincerity in our appreciation of your efforts. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Maddox. All right, Commissioners, we're on comments and discussion items. Anything from the county attorney?
No, thank you, Chairman.
All right, items from the county administrator.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, discussion items by commissioners. We're going to start with you, Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in light of comments just heard, a searing pain enters my chest. I saw the news of the ribbon cutting, and I was delighted, I was sad that I think I had a funeral service that day, something. And I was hurt that I was not there, because when we dug up the dirt to kick it off, and I believe we had gotten something like $3-4 million. How much money we got? How much was it to bring the building up?
$4 million.
$4 million. And we were out there and we walked the halls. County administrator told us, this is going to be here, this is how it's going to look, oh, we're going to do a great job. Those commitments on the front. And from the joy that we felt expressed, Maggie, and if there was and there may have been an oversight, but please know from the depths of the hearts of the effort and the joy with which Maggie was enthused about doing something for that property, that I know that the labor that went in was a plain Jane oversight. But I think that we can make it up if the district commissioner and our chairman, we've had so much energy, and out of all the spaces from out there on Highway 20 with Commissioner Caban's district, Woodville, a little different, but there is something annoying, that's G-N-A-W-I-N-G, gnawing, tension around race that have permeated the existence of Miccosukee since I've been here. Mr. Hall, you've been here a jillion times. We've almost had to come out there and separate folk from fighting and stuff, and folk just, but our hearts to see a transformation and a unity in Miccosukee among the neighbors, and who controlling it and who calling the shots. We worked hard, and there's been great patience. I'm talking about race. And I don't know how far back the dynamic goes, but Mr. Chairman, what I'm trying to say is that we done put the brick in the mortar, $4 million on bricks and mortar. And I believe that we ought to do a community celebration that focuses on the flesh, the blood, and the spirit in the hearts of people. And I believe that for $4 million being invested there, that a ribbon cutting is a stiff, quick, it doesn't even capture the amount of time. And if the district commissioner would consider the fortitude with which both communities have come together around the county's efforts to create harmony, not just bricks, but harmony, that we need to go down there and do a real celebration of sorts. I don't know Mrs. Carrie Wilson, I don't know her, but to the modest requests that have been made today, Mrs. Wilson's name be added, the motion made by Commissioner Maddox, the ask by Ms. Smith for boys and girls support, and in particular with the big beautiful bill, is going to hurt SNAP, is going to hurt families, and Mr. Wilson's asked for support, but they're already looking down the road. And if we could You know, when it storms, the county, we prepare sandbags. We get sandbags, and we tell people to come get these sandbags and keep, and that's kind of what we need to do, is prepare sandbags for the storm that may engulf this community. But Commissioners, I would love to see, for the years I've invested, have seen the efforts of community come together. We put a lot of heart and soul. And I really believe what we've never done is gone down there. And I wanted to be there. But we have never had a celebration, community celebration, in an area that's been troubled, that's been trying to come into the 21st century of thinking and thought, being and doing and action and loving and embracing. That's where we're trying to get everybody, same page. And that's what they're asking for. And they feel hurt that their voices didn't get recognized at the ribbon cutting. That's not what we felt, what we think, how we feel. But I think we can do better than cut a ribbon. I think we ought to. And if this board don't want to do that, I promise you this commissioner is going to do that. So we're going to have a community celebration, whether whatever happens. But I pray that our board will be willing to do so. And I'm asking, as my first ask of this board tonight, is for us to give thought to how to bring the entire and reach out to that the level of human collegiality will reach the height of a $4 million building. We can't have the building greater than the people. We want the people to have greater get along collegiality than what the building. And then for the programs that Ms. Smith is talking about, let's find ways, creative, soft areas of support that we can do so. And Mr. Lammy, you have one or two tools that might be helpful. So that's my first ask, that can we go back and make the amend for what they feel that they gotten shortened, and let's go back and do a celebration. That's my first ask. I want to put it in a motion. Mr. Chairman, if you want to bring it back under your time,
Commissioner Proctor, I would say to you that the ribbon cutting, where a lot of us were, was a pretty spectacular event. It was about as close to a community celebration as you could possibly have. Food, drinks, the whole 9 yards, tours. It's a beautiful facility. I encourage you to drive by it. Beautiful, incredible. The members of the committee were acknowledged by myself and my remarks, the county administrator, Maggie Terrio, everybody involved in the project acknowledged, and I think everybody here would attest to that was in attendance. We acknowledge the sacrifice, the service, and the work of the folks at the Mix City Community Center. Construction and I think it's like a $7 million project all in, not federal funds and county funds. So if you want to direct staff or ask the board to direct staff to host some kind of bigger festival, you can do that. But I'm telling you, the ribbon cutting that we had was far from a stagnant, sterile event. It was a lovely, beautiful event, well attended, and it was carried off with great detail by our staff and great thoughtfulness, as is the community center itself. So that's where I'm comfortable leaving that.
Well, I like to make the motion that we ask staff to give consideration at the meeting with the community, because I don't want to do a ribbon cutting, $1,777 million, and folk have taken time and spent long hours to wait to tell us that they feel hurt. And I don't think money replaces hurt. And from what I'm hearing, I don't think that we can buy nobody off, and $7 million don't buy your feelings back. So if that's what you think, Mr. Chairman, those are your thoughts. But I don't think no amount of money that we done spent make them feel good about how they felt in that ceremony, though elaborate to our eyes. I heard something different. So I would like for staff to bring back for our attention something that fits the order of, you know, and sometimes a do-over makes it right.
I appreciate your sentiments, Commissioner Proctor, and we can direct staff, or we can ask the county administrator to work with staff to come up with something else. I mean, we are doing a proclamation for the 7 committee members. If there's anything else that's within reason, Mr. Administrator, that we can do to celebrate the 7 people in Mixoki who helped and felt under-recognized at the event, please look into that.
Thank you. Yeah, just listening for your direction. And if that's your direction, we'd be very happy to do it.
With your time, Commissioner Parker.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Was a motion needed, or is that conveyed?
I think your direction is conveyed. I think the board's not going to disagree with that.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you all. Again, our collective apology to all of y'all. And we're going to make this thing tight and right, I assure you. All right. Commissioners, I've just shared with you a farmer's market proposal. And I'm asking that in light of the reductions in the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and given the closure, pending closure of the flea market, that our community, speaking of food desert, we do not have a place of fresh produce available on the south side, urban core. And we've put together this proposal, this ask, and I'd like for staff to look at it and to study its potential and to bring back some consideration to us. And I have points 1 through 4, a response of what we can do to get Florida A&M. That A stands for agriculture, local farmers, and some of those who won't be working at the flea market in the future. How do we get those vendors together that our community will be supplied with fresh groceries from the ground? And I've shared, commissioners, with you a copy of the proposal, and I ask your permission to allow staff to bring back for our attention how to create a fresh food market for the loss of the flea market and all of which they provided, and many people went there on the weekends to get fresh food.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for staff to bring back a proposal to create a farmer's market. Yeah, Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Proctor, this is a great idea. As you know, I used to work at Second Harvest, where we helped out with a lot of food distribution. One thing that I'm hoping you might consider adding as a friendly amendment would be, in addition to creating a farmer's market, also within that agenda item, exploring ideas of working with existing entities like Second Harvest and possibly others, as a way to maybe maximize some of their effort. It might be better in the long run for us to help prop up other people that are doing that work right now instead of creating it standalone. I don't know what the right answer is, but hopefully that agenda item would cover that. Would you mind accepting that as a friendly amendment?
Absolutely. We're looking, when snaps is going to create issues. I believe it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I think Commissioner Gavan and I, we did a food giveaway Saturday morning down at the fairground. And when I tell you that the cars were lined up on Tram Road, all around Monroe, coming down Paul Russell Road, then meandering through the parking lot of Gene Cox Stadium, it was an amazing moment. I still got the counter in my car, and I don't know if it was 479 or 379.
It was 389.
389.
Over 500 people.
Right.
189
We were
vehicles.
serving more than one family more than one family per car. The demand, the need, the reaching out is tremendous. And I think that if we step this way sooner than later, it would better help us to provide for health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. So I think it's an excellent idea, and thank you for my failure to include all of that. All right. Commissioners, I want to thank you all for your support. Pardon?
Hey, Commissioner Caban, I think, before we move on, Commissioner Proctor, Commissioner Minor, you had the floor, but I think Commissioner Caban wanted to talk on point, and then we can come to you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm done. He accepted the friendly amendments, so I'm done, sir.
Commissioner Caban?
Yeah, I support the motion, and Commissioner Minor, I like the friendly amendments as well. I was going to add to that, I know around Leon County in different parts of different districts and different communities, there are existing farmers markets. And so one thing that I would like to see as part of the item, Commissioner Proctor, is how can Leon County also be more involved in supporting existing farmers markets and also maybe include a status report of where are our needs on food insecurity. I think it's a huge need, especially in our shared footprint in Woodville and Fort Braden, which is our food desert. So I think this is a very important topic, and I appreciate you bringing light to it. I just want to open it more. Like, hey, how can we support food insecurity as a whole, not just with creating our own farmers markets, but how can we support existing farmers markets as well?
It's a great thought. I welcome all of those inquiries. You know, the loss of the owner said that they couldn't afford to pay for fixing up the flea market to the level with which the code enforcement was requiring. And believe it or not, I know that the flea market is not an economy identified in the some of the stats that we keep on commercial activity, and we don't keep count on the nighttime dollar after 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. We don't keep count on money is spent at the flea market and what that look like. There's just underground economy. But the flea market probably was flipping more dollars than the Governor Square Mall on some days, and certainly more than the Tallahassee Mall on all days. So it's an economy that's has been eviscerated, and we need to collectivize those vendors who were participating in finding a locale that the community can reach. We just can't lose food at this time. It's too essential, too needed, and I'm grateful for your support, if you will. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Do we not vote on it? Nope. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I'm asking commission support that allow this commissioner to attend the National Association of Black Journalists in Cleveland in August 4th.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Show it passes unanimously with Commissioner Maddox out of chambers, as well as that on that last vote, I think he was out of chamber.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, you did a great, fantastic job. Commissioners, thank you. We made progress tonight in wonderful ways. My condolences are extended to that community in Texas. And just though I know, and I don't know how to communicate it, Mr. Chairman, but my final ask tonight is a letter from you representing our board expressing our deepest sympathy to, I forget the name of the county, Barrett in Texas, but I think that it just warrants an expression if we feel the empathy of what has occurred there. And I would make the motion that we send some letter of love, support for Sister County.
All right. Motion seconded by Commissioner Cummings. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously with Commissioner Maddox out of chambers.
Thank you very much.
All right, Commissioner Minor, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good job tonight. It's hard herding these 7 cats, but you do a good job of it, so thank you. First request is for a proclamation, moving for a proclamation for Impact Week 2025. This will be held November 18th through the 20th in the Challenger Learning Center. Impact Week TLH is a nonprofit business conference and speaker series that connects innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders from across the city, region, and state.
Awesome. We've got a motion, second from Commissioner O'Keefe. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Show it passes unanimously with Commissioner Proctor and Commissioner Maddox out of chambers. I would remind you, Commissioners, if you can, present proclamations at the events.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Okay, next thing. There's a group of entities that are working together on helping to develop what we call the Leon County Digital Literacy Program. And the purpose of this would be to help Leon County residents avoid internet scams, help Leon County parents learn how to protect their children from the downsides of the internet and social gaming messaging and such, and then also helping residents increase their resilience when it comes to using AI. Florida is #1 in the number of reports of identity theft per capita. Florida is #2 in the amount of losses. It's 1.07 billion due to cybercrime, and that's just last year. So we've been collaborating with Tallahassee State College, FSU's College of Communication and Information, Florida Tech Council, the Cyber and Technology Bureau of FDLE, and some local tech leaders within the private sector. And I've been speaking with the county administrator about this, and one thing we wanted to do to kind of help make this feasible would be for Leon County to provide in-kind resources to help this program get implemented. One would be to allow for the use of the libraries as a venue for the training sessions to the public. Number 2 would be having our videographer record the training sessions and then kind of package that into something that could be viewed on via streaming so that if people can't attend the training sessions, they can watch it online. And then the last thing would be some in-kind assistance from the CMR department on community outreach, because CMR, probably as good as anyone else in the county, knows how to reach sometimes hard to reach folks when it comes to community messages. We have a lot of experience when it comes to hurricanes, et cetera. So I've spoken to the county administrator about this to make sure it was feasible. And so my motion is to basically ask our Leon County staff to provide those in-kind resources for the Leon County Digital Literacy Program.
All right, we got a motion. Commissioner Cummings seconds that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously with Commissioner Maddox and Commissioner Proctor out of chambers.
Thank you. And then last thing, or actually second last thing, who's going to NACO? I think you and I are going to NACO. Anybody else? Okay. Well, so for anybody that doesn't know, NACO is the National Association of Counties Conference, where county commissioners from around the country will converge upon Philadelphia this year to talk about federal policy that can help us in our communities back home. Just an FYI, one thing I've been talking about with Shelley Bell at Tallahassee State College is how we can help federal policy develop the workforce here, not just in Leon County, but nationwide. One thing that a lot of the state colleges or community colleges have been pushing for is an expansion of Title IV eligibility that would apply to short-term vocational programs. So in other words, federal dollars under Title IV will go to educational programs to help people develop the skills for jobs, but they do not fund the short-term vocational programs that are under 600 hours. And so what that means is that some of the most high-demand jobs in the country, CDL licenses for tractor trailer drivers, CNAs, nurses, those type of high-demand jobs are hard to fill. And so what this would do is ask the federal NACO lobbyists to advocate for that eligibility expansion so that we can get more people certified to work those jobs and then fill those jobs nationwide, as well as here in Leon County. So Tallahassee State College has said that's a priority of theirs. And so when we're at NACO, I'm going to be trying to push for that. And then lastly, as Commissioner Proctor said, I wanted to offer our sincere condolences and prayers to the families affected by the tragic floods in Central Texas. Just an hour ago, there was an announcement made in Kerr County, the main county where the floods have occurred, that in addition to people that have been victims identified already, there are 161 additional people that are still missing. So that means that the total is likely to be much higher. So as a parent, it really hits me hard, and just wanted to offer our prayers and condolences for those folks. And wishing our brothers and sisters the best in Kerr County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The one thing I want to ask about is if we can get an update on Washington Square. I know we heard just information passed on from the owner. So I would like to hear where we stand after our last actions on it.
Go ahead, yeah, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So staff has diligently been working with the county attorney's office to prepare an agreement that has been shared with Mr. McDermott and his representatives. There has been active dialogue back and forth about specific terms and that sort of thing. As I told you earlier in the meeting, Mr. McDermott is in town. He does have a meeting with staff tomorrow. And again, his expectation is that an agreement for him to complete the work will be signed by the end of the week. My update to the board on the legal side is if that does not happen, I'm in the process of retaining outside counsel, and we will proceed immediately to litigation.
Do you need any action from us to do that?
No, sir.
Do you have to wait to the end of the week to do that?
Pardon me?
Do you have to wait to the end of the week to do that?
I don't have to.
It is nice of Mr. McDermott to show up into town now at this point. That's very kind of him to do that and to see where his project stands after all this time. They have had a month to look at this agreement, and it always seems like they just show up at the last minute to say, oh, there's some new information, give us some time, there's some new information. They have a commitment to us, they have a commitment to the county, to the community, they have an agreement with them. I would just ask that I'd like to move to ask the county, make a motion to ask the county attorney to enter right away into engaging counsel and pursuing the filing.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Dies for lack of second.
All right, well, I appreciate the update. I know you're working diligently on it, and at least I am done with waiting on Mr. McDermott to wait until our September meeting to show up to town and say, oh, we'll sign the agreement this time. So I look forward to us not waiting for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Cummings.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask for a proclamation for a nonprofit community-based entity that's called Melanin Mothers. They've been around about 9 years, but they focus on maternal mental health and postpartum care. They have something coming in September, and I'd like to ask for a proclamation, hopefully to be presented to them at their function or at their conference in September.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Commissioner Proctor out of chambers.
Thank you. I know we've all seen where WCTV is celebrating their 70th anniversary on local television, WCTV 70 years, and I'd like for us to present them in chambers with the proclamation celebrating that 70th anniversary, so I move to do so.
Second. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Okay.
Commissioner Proctor out of chambers still.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Florida A&M University has also appointed its first ever woman head drum major. So she's the first female head drum major of the Marching 100. So I move that we present her with the proclamation in the fall. I'm not, okay.
Okay.
May has to come too, by the way. They got serenaders, you gotta get their last time.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously with Commissioner Proctor out of chambers.
Thank you. And one last thing, I'd like to ask our county attorney about the arbitration with the city of Tallahassee, I guess, and where we are on that,
On the fire services,
the arbitration with the city of Tallahassee.
on the fire services thing.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. Uh-huh.
The city agreed with the county that we had moved beyond mediation, given that our respective boards have taken a position. So we have moved directly to arbitration. There will be a 3-member panel. The county has selected one, the city has selected one. The third panelist will be selected by those 2 arbitrators, hopefully by the end of this week. We will, hopefully next week, probably toward the end of the week. Again, we're still working out logistics and details, but we're working collaboratively with the city to nail down timeframes, to complete any discovery we need, schedule the final hearing to be held well in advance, so we have an arbitration award in advance of the board's September 15th meeting, which is the public hearing where we have to adopt the tax roll, the assessments. And so we're proceeding diligently, and the city attorney's office is cooperating in that effort.
Okay, thank you, Ms. County Attorney. So we are doing, are we hiring outside counsel, or are we doing it,
No, we're handling it internally.
Okay, and just one follow-up question. You said 3-member panel, so will they sit as the arbitrating group?
Correct.
Okay, and are they attorneys, are they lay people, or?
They are attorneys, they have to be. And one is a retired judge here locally, one is a retired judge from Central Florida, and we'll see with the third panelist who hasn't been selected yet.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only have one thing. I'd like to ask for a proclamation for Miss Sandra Horn. She's the mother of the Mario Rowe Murray, who was murdered through gun violence on October 29, 2022. The proclamation is celebrating her, taking her pain and her grief and choosing to be productive. She's actually spoken and been in activism of gun violence since the death of her son, 2023, 2024. She erected billboards in reference to stopping gun violence and using her son as an inspiration to stop such. And so I'd like to ask for a proclamation celebrating her works and celebrating what she's brought to our community.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Mr. Chair, you run a great meeting.
Thank you.
I also want to thank Commissioner Proctor for his idea of the event out in the Mickasegua area. I do think it'll go a long way. Looking forward to seeing what staff puts together on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioner Vice Chair Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Great meeting, Commissioners. First order of business, Madam Attorney, I would like the record reflect, I think there was the first public hearing agenda item. I was out of the chambers. I would like to let the record reflect that I voted in affirmative on the staff recommendation. Second, I don't know if this is something we usually do with other local elected officials. However, I don't really care. I would like to request a proclamation for school board member Daryl Jones and Superintendent Rocky Hanna. Sable Palm Elementary School is now an A-letter school, an A-grade school, and that's a Title I school in my district, and that is a tremendous improvement, and I think we need to recognize that for our community.
Commissioner Caban, would you be willing to add the principal?
Absolutely.
I think she's maybe transitioning out,
Yeah.
actually, but the
Still, let's
previous
include her.
principal. Yeah, awesome. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes unanimously.
Next, in light of what happened in Texas over last week, which is just a complete tragedy, I would like to request a status report from staff to come back at one of our future meetings, just to highlight, in April of 2024, we had a flooding event where I believe we had 8 inches of rain over an 6-8 hour span. And, believe it or not, commissioners, in parts of my district in West Leon County, there were mobile home parks that literally had water up to the doorway. And so it's, not comparing two natural disasters to each other, but there has been significant flooding event in Leon County. And I would like to have a status report come back, and I would just like to know, what is our threshold to where if we have this much amount of rain within the region under this period of time, we have issues? And I would like to just kind of see what that looks like. And then also with that, how can we better prepare for flooding events to make sure that this does not happen? And some things we can't control, but what is within our control, be able to modify and maneuver. So that would be my status, my motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, we have a motion. Second? Oh, Nafal, go ahead.
We are doing a vulnerability study right now. That actually is exactly that what you're asking for.
Okay, fantastic. I'll withdraw the motion if you guys are already working on it.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Nafal.
Thank you for that update. Next, this isn't a motion, just more of a statement, but, I've been seeing in the news, unfortunately been seeing in the news lately, just horrific crimes against our children in Leon County. And as we approach our next legislative priority workshop, I don't have anything I want to just prepare right now, but I would like our board to really consider how we move forward and how we approach. I know that it's a priority of our board to free up capacity in the detention facility in Leon County. However, I want to make sure that's not creating an environment where we want to be light on crime, particularly when it's crimes against our children. I think that's where we need to make sure we are holding the line and being firm and letting folks know that this is not tolerated in Leon County. It never will be. And I saw the state attorney's made some comments in the press about it recently, and I actually stand behind him, because some of the stuff I've been reading in the news and seeing in the news about just, whether it's abuse, even the incident with Lori Page, which was just terrible. I just want to make sure that our board is drawing a firm line when it comes to crime against our children. And so I plan on bringing up some stuff when their legislative priorities come up related to that. Lastly, commissioners, I am going to pass out, this is a Leon County ordinance. I would like for you all to review it, please. Let me pass that down. Commissioners, so this is related to the fire services fee, and this is a Leon County ordinance that talks about collection of the fire services fee. From my understanding, there are 3 different kinds of fire services fee and how it's collected. One is within city limits. For Leon County residents within city limits, the city of Tallahassee charges the fire services fee to their utility. If you're in the unincorporated area and you don't have city utilities, it is on, Madam Attorney, there are ad valorem tax assessment, correct? And then the third, if you are unincorporated Leon County, meaning you do not live in the city of Tallahassee, however, you have city utilities, we allow them with this ordinance, we allow the city per this ordinance to charge the fire services fee to the utility, through their utility. We give the city that permission through this ordinance. The problem with that in what I would call a gray area, and Madam Attorney, and I might refer to you in a little bit, but I brought this to our county attorney's attention, is there is case law from Florida U.S. District 5, where a judge ruled in a class action lawsuit that the fire services fee being charged through a municipal utility was an unconstitutional tax on its citizens. The result of that lawsuit resulted in the city of Ocala paying back $79 million to its taxpayers. I saw in the news that looks like it's being challenged or may be challenged now. However, per our charter, we have very little say of what goes on in city limits. We've discussed that earlier today. However, we have an ordinance right here that allows the city of Tallahassee to charge this fire services fee through their utility. I don't want Leon County residents to think that we are allowing an unconstitutional tax be put on them. If you don't pay your fire services fee on your city, this ordinance says if you don't pay your fire services fee, the city of Tallahassee has the full right to turn off all your utilities. I think that's wrong. So what I want to propose is that we have an agenda item come back, prepared by the county attorney, to remove this language, and those folks who do not live in the city limits but have the city of Tallahassee utilities, we bill them the fire services fee like we do any other unincorporated resident, and no longer allow the city of Tallahassee to charge that through their utility. So I'm requesting my motion is to request an agenda item for us to review with that language.
Second.
Point of information. Are you requesting a public hearing to amend the ordinance? Because we would need to schedule the public hearing and notice it accordingly.
But I don't want to, is that in line, I guess my question for you, what is the right process, Madam Attorney?
If you want to amend the ordinance, the board would authorize staff to schedule a public hearing to bring back an ordinance that would remove this language from the existing ordinance.
I just would want to make sure that our fellow commissioners have enough time to review the ordinance, whether they want to support it or not.
Sure, whatever the board wants to do.
Yeah, I would think an analysis.
I still maintain second, and I think there's time to talk with county attorney.
On point.
Sure.
Process-wise, Madam Attorney, looks like Commissioner Caban has done some extensive research on this and understands the issue completely. You talked about going straight to public hearing and amending the ordinance. Is there any kind of way we can have like an agenda item first and then go to public hearing, or is it only dealt with in public hearing?
No, well, if you want to amend the ordinance, you can only do that in a public hearing.
I understand that.
But if you want to do a two-stepper, which we typically do for public hearings,
Right.
I would let you know that this wouldn't become effective until next year because of the time frame for us to use the uniform method to collect. We have to send that tax roll by September 15th. So if you want to get an agenda item first and then bring that ordinance back later, just know that this change wouldn't be effective until the next fiscal year.
But if we just did the public hearing, it could be effective this year, what you're saying?
It could be, yes.
It's up to you.
Commissioners, I would rather us deal with this in this fiscal year because this is a gray area. If the agenda item, I care about you guys having ample time to review the ordinance. That's what I care about. If you think this comes back and
At the public hearing, if the board's not comfortable, you can always continue it. You can make modifications at the hearing. But it's really the board's discretion about what you want to do, but I wanted to inform you of the timing issue for when this would become effective, given what you're contemplating.
Yes, ma'am. I'll leave it to go ahead and schedule the public hearing. I think that's 2 months for commissioners to meet with you or review the item as it comes back to us. So that'll be my motion to schedule the public hearing for a September meeting that has a proposed change for the ordinance.
I second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Commissioner O'Keefe in discussion.
I'm going to support this on the hearing, jumping right to the hearing. knowing that we'll have all the information, we can decide to move forward or not. And it's like 2 meetings worth, right? Because we don't have a meeting in August, so there's 60 days for people to find out, because I think this can make sense, but it's one of these things where a lot of things related to fire service fees and billing and is up in the air right now. And I want to make sure that we do things in a way that are clear and we don't confuse people and confuse citizens. I mean, citizens are already going to be confused about why the city and county don't agree on what their fee is and who's going to get billed what when. But given the information that we would get back at the public hearing in September, I think this could all be a one-time thing that makes sense. And just to reiterate my understanding, this would be affecting people who are unincorporated areas but have city utilities. And they would no longer be billed on their city utilities. They would be billed the same way everyone else in the unincorporated area is, which is their property tax bill. And therefore, they also would not be subject to their utilities being cut off if they didn't pay their fire service fee. In that case, they would be subject to whatever you get for not paying property taxes.
Correct. And the idea behind this is there are more protections for property owners in state statute for this already.
Yeah. I think this starts to make sense, and glad we can have a public hearing on it and flesh out the details. Thank you.
I have a question. So I used to live in the county, like unincorporated area, and I got billed quarterly for the fire service fee, even though I had city gas, but not city electric. So what is that, some kind of weird nebulous area?
Well, the city, some residents do ask for it not to be put on the non-ad valorem assessment roll and instead to be billed
I don't
quarterly.
recall getting an option. It just
Yeah,
came to me
they get an
quarterly.
option.
That was the point of it being unconstitutional.
But if you don't pay that quarterly bill, we put it on the tax roll.
Oh, I got you. So it just defaults?
Yeah.
Okay. So you pay it. Now it's on my utility bill where there's a lot of things that I didn't pay before. Okay, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, Madam.
Yes, I just have
Mr. Cummings.
a follow-up question. Just want to make sure if we proceed with these steps that our county property owners are protected and that the city is not able to turn off utilities because we are shifting the mode that they are paying these fees.
That's correct. They would no longer be on the utility bill, so it would be nothing for them to shut off if they didn't pay the fire assessment, the fire service assessment. As long as they pay their utility bills, I mean, they'll deal with their utility bills and service just like they would even if this assessment isn't part of their utility bill.
Okay.
But this would not be part of the utility bill anymore.
Oh, awesome. So any avenues or any steps they wanted to take against the property owner for those fees could not be the termination of the utility services because it's not part of, it wouldn't be part of that bill if we passed this particular amended provision.
Right, it would be collected on the tax roll, and then as with all other residents in the incorporated area who pay from the tax roll, we would just collect, and then we would transfer that money over to the city as we've done in the past.
Just one other follow-up question, Mr. Chair. So the county has always had the authority then to shift this fee to the tax rolls? Or I guess when this assessment was established, the county had the option of one way or the other utility bill as opposed to a tax bill?
Yes.
And we chose utility bill?
Well, we decided to permit the city for unincorporated residents who have city utilities to place the assessment. They divide it up into monthly payments, and they put it on people's utility bill, and that's how some people pay for their assessment instead of on the tax roll, which is how the county does it, unless somebody pays a quarterly bill voluntarily.
And then one other follow-up question. So is there an interlocal agreement between the city and the county for this particular process, or do we have a written agreement with the city that says that we were collected in this manner? So in other words, if we change the status, we're not looking at a breach of contract with the city, correct?
Right, that's what this ordinance is what authorized them to do that. We also included in each of the resolutions when we adopt the tax roll every year. That's part of the resolutions that we adopted, includes a provision like this.
Awesome. I think that would be a great protection, I believe, for our county residents. So I thank you, Commissioner Caban, for raising this so that we can address it and scrutinize it.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Proctor, you're in the queue.
Yes, I wanted to ask Commissioner Caban, with this measure, would you be opposed to the county imposing a collection fee or a commission on all monies extracted from county residents that come through the graces of the county, just simply allowing the city to set a rate, pillage, loot, take from our people? You have any problems with our receiving a commission on utilities that are charged to county residents and monies that we collect and give to the city? We don't get a quarter.
My issue with that is they have the ability to charge a 50% surtax, so I think they're just gonna charge that fee to our residents. That's my opinion. They're gonna say, we gotta charge a commission, we're gonna raise your utility bill, and then they're gonna pay more.
Madam Attorney, is there anything in the state constitution or any prohibitive language that forbids Leon County from charging the city a fee or commission for the monies that we take up and just give it to them? How come we don't get no money for the services we provide?
There's nothing that prohibits us from doing it, but there's nothing that says they have to pay it, because that's not provided for in our local agreement. Every penny that the county collects for fire service assessments fees gets sent over to the city, and that's pursuant to the interlocal agreement, which does not provide for us to retain any portion of that money for any administrative costs.
I think that it's time for us to empower ourselves, that if we're the collector, we don't have to send it all to them and wait for a check back. Just give them the amount that they're due, and we retain that portion that is a part of what we pay ourselves. I think that this is big business, and big business tends to operate in a way that if you're providing a service, you get paid for it. And I just don't see us doing anything but opening the gates and allowing for the flock to get fleeced by the city. We don't get nothing back. They shear our sheep, and we keep none of the wool. They get it all. I think we should, Madam Attorney, and I know it's your item, Commissioner, but you brought it up. But I think that as they're collecting, we ain't getting nothing. And I'd like for us to take a look at how do we get ourselves paid. It's business, that's all.
All right, Commissioner Maddox, you're in the queue. Or you want to talk on that?
No, I'm sorry. I thought, no, I don't have anything to say on this item. I was just gonna say add more business after, but I thought.
Yeah, no, you still got the floor. We're
Yeah.
just trying to dispense this one.
So I understand where we're going with this, and I understand your premises and thoughts behind it. But I would think that it's on the utility bill, which means that it's not a separate piece of utility bill. It's just every month it's in there, and they just, whoever it is, the person whose utilities it is, they just pay it, right? I mean, so if the utility bill is $300 and $10 of that is the fire services fee monthly, they just pay that $300 and it covers it. I think if I am a unincorporated resident, I would like to have the option, because I don't think it's a bad idea what we did there, because it is just something. I mean, versus you paying it quarterly, it adds $10 to your monthly fee, and you pay it. So basically, if you don't pay your utility bill, period, your utility's going to get cut off. Okay. Now, if it says $10 on there, you pay $2.90, they still going to cut it off because of that 10. If there's a way to give our county residents the option, Madam Attorney, where they can either choose to put it on their utility bill if they don't want to worry about paying it quarterly, or they can choose to take it off and then pay it quarterly. Is there a way to write the ordinance in that way, that gives them the option versus us just taking the option away and saying they have to do it quarterly?
You could try that. I think that the issue would become an administrative issue because, for example, renters pay utility bills. Renters change and turn over. So you might have somebody who's paid for half of a year on a utility bill. A new renter comes in and says, no, I don't want that on my utility bill. They're already halfway into the fiscal year. They don't have a choice at that point. They have to pay on the utility bill for the rest of that fiscal year.
This is a hard one for me because it brings up an issue, because if I'm a property owner, it's going from the utility bill to the tax bill. Now all I'm gonna do is take that money and just add it on to the rent to make sure it's covered. This is a tough one for me because I can see the benefits of where it is, it being paid monthly, but I can also see the benefit of what you're talking about and making sure that our folks are not handcuffed to it being a part of the utility bill and having to pay it. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I might just want to leave it well enough alone because it goes on the tax bill and it becomes a part of the rent. I don't know yet. I'm willing to go with the public hearing because, I want to give you some time for staff to bring it back and let's look at the idea. But I'm not totally sold on changing it because I'm talking a lot, y'all, because I'm thinking through it. I can't say that I'm wondering what our citizens will want on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On point, Commissioner Caban?
Commissioner Maddox, I think once I get to my next motion that I'll bring up after this, I think it'll also provide more context. I just intentionally keep it separate. The biggest issue here is that there is case law with a judge ruling that charging the fire services fee through a utility so they're being charged to all residents when it is a benefit to the property owner was ruled unconstitutional. So what I'm trying to do also is protect our board. So that's also some of the thought process here. So,
all right. Yeah. Commissioner Proctor, you back in the queue?
Yeah, Mr. President. Thank you. So Commissioner Caban, clearly, what you're asking the county attorney is to model a parallel case for citizens of Leon County that parallels the issues if the facts match, if oranges are with oranges, that our county attorney would prepare to look at this and to pick up a little aggression and that we follow suit based upon legal findings of what district is Marion County? What area is that? What circuit is that?
This is the 5th District Court of Appeal.
All right. And that we're the second. And I think second come before we're the 5th on it.
We're the 1st district, Commissioner Proctor.
Okay, we're the 1st, and that means something. We ought to act like it. And the 1st shouldn't be behind 5th when we the 1st. So I think I hear Commissioner Mann asking, and correct me but asking that we parallel a case on the order and modeled after Marion County. Is that what you're saying?
Yes and no. What I'm saying is let's make all the unincorporated properties uniform, right? So that way we don't have some being built through the utility. Yes, I'm saying that, essentially.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, Madam Attorney. And I just believe that, a little interpretation, I just believe that to the extent of what I was saying, Madam Attorney, about us getting paid, I'm not a member of the mafia, but I've seen a lot of movies. And if you sell drugs in the territory of what some mafia said, this is our territory, and you're selling in their territory, you got to pay to be over there. And it's pretty much the sense of what United States President Trump is saying. If you foreign and you're going to access United States markets, you owe me a tariff. I need to get paid. It's no different, same principle. You just don't play for free, and you don't give me something for what you're making off of my people. And that's what I'm saying. It ain't, we're not playing at the level which we ought when our people, our jurisdiction, money is being extracted and we ain't getting none. It's just that plain. With a tariff, that's what we ought to do.
All right, Commissioner Cummings, you're.
Yeah, just on point, Mr. Chair, following Commissioner Caban's motion, right here in Leon County, I know we've read it, where there's a group here that is threatening, and they might have already filed the lawsuit against the city of Tallahassee, based primarily on that lawsuit that they mentioned down, I believe it was in Alachua, Ocala, okay, in Ocala. So I haven't found it, I'm not sure if it has been filed, but over the last 30 days, it has been consistently in the newspaper where they're threatening to file a lawsuit against the city of Tallahassee because of the collection of this fee on the utility bill. So it might serve us to also sort of track that as well, because it directly, I'm not sure what judge they would give it to, but it would directly track your concern and the language that we're dealing with the city and our county residents.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Who was the seconder? Commissioner Cummings?
I think I did.
I can't remember either. Okay, so we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. The last thing, I think it would be good for the board to be educated on the lawsuit that took place with the city of Ocala, and it was a class action lawsuit in their constituents. So what I was going to do is just propose a status report for the county attorney to bring back us an agenda item, simply as an informational item for us to track the facts of that lawsuit. I think it would be good for educational purposes for us to see, to make sure that there's not similarities between what is going on currently with the utility, and to prevent any potential unconstitutional tax on our constituents. Simply just informational.
All right.
Status report.
Yeah. All right, we need a second?
Second.
All right, Commissioner Proctor, second. We're in discussion with Commissioner O'Keefe.
I'll defer if you have more you want to talk about on it before I talk.
No, I just want an informational only item come back saying this was the facts, not conjecture of the lawsuit that transpired, for the board to review and be educated on it.
Gotcha. And this is only related to the settled lawsuit?
Correct.
Okay. My only question would be, should that be, what's it called, a shade meeting, since there is other litigation regarding fire service fee issues in our local community? Is that something we should consider as a shade meeting instead of a public informational meeting?
No, because we are not engaged in any pending litigation related to that City of Ocala case, so we couldn't even have a shade meeting if we wanted to. And the scope of any shade meeting that we would have related to litigation is limited to strategy only, which is why that it's not apples to apples here. But an informational item is no problem.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, County Attorney. Thank you for bringing the item, Commissioner.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, passes unanimously.
Commissioners, thank you for a great meeting. Hope everyone has a great break. Next time you see me, I will be a dad of one. So.
Let's go.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to ask Commissioner Caban, I heard it mentioned at a meeting, public meeting this morning, that you're having a kickoff of back to school. Could you share with us a little information, please?
You're just spoiling the surprise. But no, yes, I'm having my annual back to school event, doing it at Sable Palm this year. Not doing it as much as a bash. We're trying to give away 1,200 backpacks. So we got the backpacks ordered. We're doing it at the Sable Palm car line. August 1st is the date, 5:30 PM. You guys are all welcome to volunteer and join. I know Commissioner Maddox will be there because he don't have a choice. And then, and so, yeah, we'd love for the support. Mr. County Administrator, would love to see you there with a hat on, sweating.
I'll be there.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Wear a hat.
All right. Commissioners, thank you for a long, productive meeting, and your patience at times when things get a little sideways. Just wanted to say congrats to our colleagues over at the City of Tallahassee on their All-America City Award. That's a big deal, and I think that, you know, we have some issues with them from time to time, but we need to give them their kudos when they deserve them. Likewise, congrats to all of our county employees on your NACO awards and your continued excellence. You know, in spite of the earlier conversation, the only real event between the last meeting and this meeting was the Miccosukee Community Center grand opening, which I thought was wonderful, and want to thank our staff who contributed so much effort, obviously, to that. You know, when Commissioner Maddox is serving up the cold cuts, it was a big deal, okay? So that facility looks great. It was hot out there, but I just want to thank Maggie and Matt and Kiana and everybody that was involved in making that event so cool. Amanda Heidecker, thank you, who we probably don't give enough love to because we got the World Cross Country logo came out, which I think we got a sneak peek of that, must have, earlier, but anyway. So just want to continue to thank our county staff and enjoy not having to come here on a Tuesday night in August. And we look forward to seeing you in September. And then I was going to congratulate Commissioner Caban, although we may see you before that. We won't have a meeting before Commissioner Caban joins the ranks of the people who get the child tax credit. So he's got that to look forward to. All right. And with that, thank the county administrator and the county attorney for a great season of meetings here before we go into our little break in August. You guys continue to set the bar very high. So thank you all so much, and thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Good meeting, man.